Everyone, have a good show.
You too. Hello.
That's fine. Look, there's still too many Hayleys. Right, John.
I feel like this should be a drinky game.
Oh. Hi, what have I been up to? I have been up to a ridiculous amount of stuff. We've just got back from our retreats. So yeah, it's we've had 9 days, 75 ladies come to visit us over the 9 days. So yeah, no, it's all been great. It's been amazing. I'm tired. I'm a tired bunny, but it's been lots of fun. Lots of fun.
Excellent, excellent. Oh, and we've got announcements, haven't we? For later.
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed. So I'm just going to mute me because I'm. Yeah, there we go.
Mute yourself. That's fine.
Twice,
We'll go around the other way. So Hayley, obviously,
hello.
We tried to join in with you last week.
We did. We
had some technical
pesky
gremlins,
storm,
didn't we?
Yeah. Fingers crossed we'll be all right this time.
We blamed Storm Bert. So what you've been up to?
So, what I've been up to this week, I've been a lot of kind of behind the scenes stuff because I've got a very busy week this coming week. And we had today's the day one of the 25 days of sewing. So it's making sure that everything's all kind of ready for that. So our first set of emails went out today with our first download. And yeah, all very exciting. So yeah, and then a little bit of TV work as well. So yeah, good week.
Excellent. And John, first time on the Secret Sewing Club for John. Got a lot of wires. Well, so what have you been up to, and what have you got for us today? Oh, hang on, John. We can't hear you.
Can't hear you.
I think you've pressed a button, my love.
I thought I had.
There
Hello?
you go. Back in the room. There we go.
Honestly, I pressed the button beforehand. I had a memory pop up that 6 years ago, you and I were on Hochanda together. I know. How mad is that?
That was a long
Talk
time
about
ago.
years and years.
Long time.
I am great. It has been, like yourself, Sarah, had retreats and it's been amazing. Don't you find it so inspiring being around so many creative people?
Yeah.
But you do come home and you're really exhausted.
Oh,
But I can show you a little something of what I'm doing. Just give you a little bit of a sneak peek. Hopefully I'm not going to make you all ill. I've got my long arm quilting machine going in the background over there for a new quilt that I just did. So I'm hoping to be able to show you all a bit of that later.
Excellent. So
what's the announcement?
Let me have a think. Sarah.
What's the announcement? I'm all excited.
Yeah, well, I've got to get on top of the messages, but I know Sarah is going first. There's a lot of hellos to do. I do apologise because we don't do a lot of the hellos, but that's because there's so many of them. We would just spend all of our time saying hello. But Sarah, you're first.
Okay.
What have you got? And I shall let you get on with it. Right. What also, since you were last on, we've changed it slightly. You should still be able to hear me, but the viewers should also still be able to hear me as well. Fabulous. Which means that if anybody's got questions, I kind of will feed them to you, and then you can answer whatever we need to know. So,
lovely. That sounds brilliant, Han.
Are we muted out now?
Not yet, Hayley. I'm doing it now.
Okay. Perfect. Just let us know.
All right.
No, we can still hear you.
No, yeah, they can't hear you, but Sarah still can. So I'm going to mute you now.
Cool.
And
hello, my lovelies. You all right? Everybody okay? Thanks for joining us again. As I was saying a minute ago, I is a little bit tired. I'm a little bit tired after 9 days of retreats, but it's been incredible. We've met some amazing women from all over the country. We've been fed more than we could possibly need, but no, it's been fab. It's been absolutely lovely, and we're now prepping the ones ready for April, so it's non-stop. I've got some really lovely products to show you today. As always, they're all in a section on our website called the Secret Sewing Club. Some of them have got 20% off, some of them are already, and that will show on the website. The 20% off will last until midnight tonight on any of the products. Okay, so if you order sort of anywhere between now and midnight, you'll be able to get that discount. So I'm going to go to the overhead so I can show you properly what we've got. So we've got some kits. So these are a kit that we've done lots and lots in lots of different colors. This is the Bento bag kit, which you can make at least 2 bags from each of these kits. We've got them in 3 different colorways. We've got the Riley Blake Mansfield Park colorway. We have a Liberty Blue colorway. And then we've got Land of Enchantment, which is really, really bright. So I've got them made up here so I can show you. So this is the Land of Enchantment one, which is these really sort of bright, sort of Colombian type prints. Really, really pretty. They are, once you've made one bento bag, you can make these in any size. It's just a ratio of measurements, which I'll go through on demo. But you can see this is all that we've made one out of the kit, and you've got all of this fabric left over. You can definitely make a second, possibly a third, with what you've got in the kit. These would be great for Christmas. You can get all sorts of, a bit of tissue paper in the bottom, put loads of, pretty things in there, make it almost like a hamper as a gift bag. They're great if you're a crocheter or a knitter because they sit over your arm and you can have the ball of wool in there and it just pulls out as you're knitting or crocheting. We've got, so that's the Land of Enchantment one. This is the Liberty Blue one, which you've got all these beautiful little woodland animals on. And then we've got the Riley Blake Mansfield Park one, okay, which is that one there. And this is what I'm going to demo for you. I'm just going to whiz through the other projects that I've got for you. We've got the Delphine Brooks brand new panels, which are called Psychedelic. And there's 3 animals in this. This is the hare, obviously.
Sarah,
really
can you just give us the
sir?
prices while you're going, please? I have put your link up on
fabulous
on Facebook, but yeah, because obviously we don't have a presenter as such. Could you just let people know what things are price-wise while you're going? Thank you. Yeah,
of course, lovely. So the bento bags are $13.95. Like I said, you can make 2, at least 2, possibly 3 out of them. These panels, they were $14.95. They're down to £8 with the 20% off. Okay, so we'd reduced them slightly anyway, but they've got another 20% off. So you've got a hare, but the joy of this panel is you've got all of this extra which goes with it. So you've got these beautiful squares on the top here, which you can use as binding or you can use to make borders. And then all these crazy psychedelic mushrooms. Okay. And all of these can be cut out and appliqued. I don't know if you can see this little picture right at the bottom. If I just go to the close up a second, you might be able to see there's sort of an idea of what you can use them for here. Okay. I do have, just behind me, the lovely Anne made up the owl for me, and she's appliqued all of those flowers and just with some Bondi web and mushrooms and all on there round the owl. So there are 3 different animals. There's the hare, there's the owl that you saw just behind me, and then there's the fox as well. They all come with the same fabrics here and the mushrooms. Sorry, I'm trying to do this so you can see the foxy. And then you've got that beautiful fox. I mean, he's quite gorgeous just as he is, with all this sort of dark silhouette. You don't have to applique anything on it. You could then use this against some beautiful black or navy fabric and do other projects. So there's those ones and the bento bags. We've also got a Woodland Winter panel. This comes in 2 colours. This is a Moda panel. This is they call it charcoal grey, but it is a black. It's really, really deep black. And you've got 3 little pictures at the top here. You've got the main picture, which, 2 seconds, I'm just going to flip this out so you can see it. There we go. You've got the main picture, which is those beautiful deer, little fox, love the raccoon down here, you see. And then you've got another 3 on the bottom here. I think this would make, as a quick project, these would make stunning centres of placemats or coasters. And then you could use this centerpiece as a table centre. You could keep it all in one and just quilt it up and use it as a wall hanging or like on the door or something like that. These are also down to £8. Okay, so these have got 20% off. There is a fat quarter bundle of Woodland Winter, which goes with that. Okay, which is... you've got like traditional sort of greens and reds. You've got this beautiful sort of, you can see you've got the little deer in all on that one, little birds. You've got a black in there, and then you've got a white. There's 6 fat quarters in that one, and then you've got a red. That is down to, I can't remember, I'm just going to have to check my laptop very quickly. £11.96 with the 20% off. So you've got 6 fat quarters there for less than £12. And then last 2 little things before we get to demo. I've got a tonal, this is from EQS. I've got a tonal spiral, technically a jelly roll, but not really because it's not Moda, as you know. You can see that beautiful, beautiful spiral there. You've got 2 of each colour in there. So if you're doing Bargellos or Bargellos, however you wish to pronounce it, really, really good because you've got 2 of each strip. So you've got 40 strips in there. They were £35. They're down to 24. And the very last one is we've got a Moda Farmhouse Flannel Charm Pack, which is their brush cotton. It feels incredible. I'll just do a quick flick through for you. You can see you've got like herringbones in there, all sorts of plaids, all different dog tooth panels. There's all sorts of checks and things. Absolutely gorgeous, really, really soft. And we're going to throw in a free pattern with that one, which is the Country Hearts cushion panel, which is perfect. Use 1 charm pack to make this cushion. And if we get time to, we'll do a little demo of that later. So we're going to go crack on with the demo then. We're going to do the bento bag. These are super, super easy to make. Really, really quick to do. And once you've done one, you can make these in any size. You can make them bigger or smaller. Now, for the size that I've written up in the pattern, these start with 9.5-inch squares. So I've just to do an extra bit of prep, I've cut 3 9.5-inch squares and sewn them together. Let me just come on to the long one. There we go. Sewn them together into a strip. Okay. These will be the outside of the bag. The one that's in the center is the one that will sit on the bottom. Okay. So the ones on the outside come up like this, and the one that's in the center ends up being your bottom piece. Okay. You also need a lining fabric, which is 27.5 inches. Okay. Now, once you've done one of these bags, like I said, as long as you can do the math, it's quilt maths, but you can do the maths yourself, guys. Okay. As long as the length is 3 times that of the width here, okay, it works. So, you know, if you've gone 20 inches there, you need to make sure, obviously, it's 60 that way, and your lining would be 60 by 20. It would make a massive tote bag that way. Or you can make them much, much smaller. You would do 5-inch squares. So it would obviously end up being 15. Well, mine is just seam allowance, but 15. And then you would want the same in your lining, okay? So it's always 3 times length to width on these. You're going to have to bear with me now because we're going to put these right sides together, okay? And we're going to stitch all the way around, leaving a gap down in this bottom corner, okay? You want to leave a little turning gap down here, okay? So please do ask some questions, and I'm sure Hayley will feed me those, hopefully.
I
if
do
you
have a question for you, actually.
If you have any questions.
Jane Brown has asked, can the brushed cotton soft fabric be mixed with the normal cotton?
Yes, it can do. Absolutely. They are slightly different weights. It will feel quite textural as you're doing it, but they're all 100% cotton, so you can definitely mix it. You know, we get that question a lot with things like batiks and stuff. Can batiks go with quilting weight cottons? Absolutely. Same as the flannels. It's absolutely fine to mix them.
That is all for now. Thank you.
That is all.
Carry on.
Okay. Right, so I'm just using a 1/4-inch seam allowance all the way down, and it's going to be very dull for you to watch because I need to sew all the way around. So while you're watching, I would like to say thank you to all the ladies who came on retreat. Like I was saying earlier, there was a lot of them, but as John was saying, it's so inspiring. We get to see what everybody's working on, you know, because not everybody does the classes that we do. You know, some of them bring their own stuff to work on. One lady, Carol, she brought the most incredible applique work I've ever seen. I mean, she's just wonderful at it. I was in proper awe. But yeah, lots and lots of stuff. Somebody was doing one of our tuffets they brought along to do. It was great. Really, really fantastic. So These don't have to be done on the machine. They could be done by hand if you wanted to, but a lot quicker on the machine. And I'm nearly there, all the way down to the end. And I'm just going to go back around the other side. There we go. Which is, like I said, this is very dull for you guys to watch, but it's just, hang on, where's my gap going to be? There it is. Oh, not quite far enough. There we go. Being a bit quick then. Trying to turn too fast. No, all the way down. I've got my husband putting all my Christmas lights up as well at the moment. While I'm doing this, I'm making him go out in the cold and put all the Christmas lights in. So I'm leaving a gap here, sort of about 2.5, 3 inches. Okay. There we go. Over we go. And then we're just going to snip the corners and turn this through. So I'm going to snip through there. Just clip those corners off nicely. There we go. And that one. And you've got to find that turning gap again now. Where is it? There it is. And we've got to pull it all through. So just get that done. And then we get to do the origami bit. This is kind of the sewing bit. And then we get to do the folding in the origami bit. Pull through like that. Okay. How's your week been, Hayley? Have you had a good week?
Sorry, I had muted myself.
Sorry.
Super busy week. I've been flying up and down the country because we will, when we all come back together, we will do our little announcement. I got a bit giddy today. I just wanted to kind of get you straight into your demos.
Straight into demos.
Get cracking. But we do have an exciting announcement.
See what I think it is, in which case it's very exciting.
It is super exciting, yes. So we'll do that when we're all back together.
Ah, lovely. Oh, so you're gonna have to keep watching now just to find out what Hayley's going to announce.
Well, we had a very busy Black Friday as well, because obviously we
did you?
We did that super mega deal that we did with all the brother machines.
Yeah.
Of which there are still a few available, but I will let people know about those a little bit later on.
Oh, fantastic. They were such a good deal. I did have a little look. And, I did have a little look to see if I needed another machine. And then I thought, I do want another machine, but...
There's still a couple of VQ4s there.
Oh, nice.
Something else. I will tell you that. They are something
one
else.
hell of a machine, that one.
Yeah, it is. I shall let you crack on, though. I shall mute myself once again. See you later.
Okey-doke. There we go, all done with the ironing and everything. So I've just rolled that seam out and ironed it. Okay, now this is the fun bit now. Now you get to do the folding. Okay, so you're going to put it on your table with the outer face up. Okay, so you can see this bit. And you're going to fold. Now, because we've done this in 3, okay, you can naturally fold to get down this seam. And we're going to fold the right side in. And you're going to line it up with this left fold here. Okay, like that. Make sure it's all nice and flat and in line with each other. And then just pin this down, top and bottom, so that nothing goes a bit skew with. What we're going to do now is we're going to stitch really, really close to the edge, sort of about a 1/16 of an inch. So we're going to top stitch from here. Okay, so we're going to top stitch from here. Okay, where that edge is there, all the way along to the fold here. Okay. So back over to the machine and we're going to, don't put the pin in your finger. That doesn't help. So in there, that, and just do a little line of top stitching. Now this isn't going to be seen because it's all going to end up on the inside. But I would do it in a complementary thread. Okay, so all the way down like that. And get to the end, just back stitch again. Like that. And then take those pins out, and now we're going to turn it. So that line there that you've just stitched, you want this down on the bottom left. So I'm going to turn it so it's down here. Okay, so I've got it down here. Pin this back out of the way. You want to be able to see this little corner here where that seam is. Okay, so just pull this all back and pin it out of the way for now. And then we're going to do exactly the same. So we're going to pull this one over, fold it on that seam line, and line up on this little seam line here, like that. Okay. again, pop a couple of pins in. You want to make sure that you're not, when we're going to stitch, you're not going to catch any of this side, okay? So make sure it's pulled back out of the way, and we're going to repeat that process and just stitch down sort of a 1/16 of an inch again, that top stitch. So down we go here, like that. Make sure you back stitch and all the way along. There we go. And I just pick a point on my foot to follow, you know. It's not that if it's a bit bigger than a 1/16 of an inch, it doesn't matter. You just want a nice neat line of stitch in there. Okay, there we go. So take those pins out. And then if I grab these, oh, and that one, and then if I grab these two pieces here and give it a shake, there's the start of your bag. Okay, now this is the inside that you can see at the moment. This is all the outer, okay? But before we turn it through, you've got a couple of options for boxing the bottom. Now, you don't have to box this. You could absolutely, you know, we can carry on and do the handle in a moment, but it's quite nice to box it. It makes it sit flatter, particularly if you're going to put a lot of stuff in it. So what you want to do is just grab it by the seam here and do it, make it flat. Oh, hang on. There we go, like that. So you can see I've got one of the seams here, back up like that. And we're going to mark this here. So now I need to, everything is still in retreat mode. I've got nothing unpacked. I've got to find rulers and pens and all sorts. So I want to measure up 1.5 inches from this corner. So if I put my 45-degree line along the seam edge here and go down and find the 1.5 line and put that right on the corner. So can you see I've got my 45 here. There's my 1.5 there at the corner. Ooh, don't move it. And draw a line right the way across there. Okay. I'm going to stitch that down. And I want to do the same on the other corner. So if I flip this and turn it, here's my other seam here. I've got my 45-degree line and then on the seam, and then down we go to 1.5 like that. If you want a deeper base, make this 2 inches or 2.5, whatever you like. Okay, so I'm now going to stitch along these two lines. Okay, so along these two here, and that will box the bottoms. So over we go. Back over to here and just follow those lines, making sure you lock stitch back at the beginning and the end. And you can see how quickly you could make these for presents. I mean, they would just be super fast to make up. You can make them in all sorts of sizes. They'd be really cute in tiny little sizes. If you maybe say did 5-inch squares or 3.5-inch squares as favours on your Christmas table. They would sit beautifully, like as a place setting, and you could put some chocolates or something in it as a little Christmas favour. So, let's come back here. There we go. Okay, just trim off those little ends there and that one there. And then I'm just going to give this a very quick press. Now, I don't chop these off, okay? I leave them inside the bag, okay? You can absolutely chop them off, but then you've got raw edges. The other thing you can do is actually do this from the front. Now, if I'd have done that boxing on the front, you'd have ended up with that little flap, this little flap here on the front, and you can then pop a button on it and it makes a nice little feature on the front of the bag. So if I do, you can, rather than, and it also kind of gives it a little bit more stability. I tend to leave them alone. You can just stitch these down if you want, if you don't want them flapping around inside the bag, but they work pretty well like that. You can see now I've got those boxed corners. I'm just going to pop my fingers in them and push them out. Okay, like that. Now, traditionally, let me just move my wall mat out of the way a second, make some space. Traditionally, with Japanese bento bags, you tie them, okay? You tie this top bit. So you put a present in them and then you tie them. However, I like to put a little handle on them, okay? So I like to put a little handle up here, like I've done on these ones, which just makes it easier to get inside, okay? So we're going to make this little tube handle, okay? So what you need for that is a little bit of the scrap in whichever colour. Let's use, what should we use? let's use this one here. And you're going to cut yourself a rectangle, which is 2.5 by 4 inches. Okay, you can see I've already made one bag, halfway through another bag, and I've still got all of this fabric left in the kit. Okay, so there is a lot in them. And this is Liberty as well, which is, this is called, I think it was called Garden Party, this range. So they're a beautiful little present in their own right without having to put anything in them. So I'm just going to cut a little strip, which is 2.5 by 4.5, like that. Just make sure it's nice and square. And then what we're going to do is we're going to give that a good iron for a start, because I've got a little crease in it. And we're just going to turn over a teeny tiny little hem. So you just want to make it about a 1/4 inch double hem on each end, like that. Give that a good press. And again, this side, there and there. And this bag is nearly done. I reckon start to finish, even with the cutting out, it will only take about 20 minutes to make one. What we're going to do now is we're just going to top stitch along those two to hold those hems down. And then we're going to turn it in half and just stitch down the long end. You're basically just making a little tube with a hemmed edge on it. So we're going to go back a bit. Oh, look at that. Got a right curl of thread going on there. Let's get rid of that. Okay, so just top stitch that one down, that end. And then flip it and top stitch the other hem down. Sorry, if you can hear lots of noise, that's my dog going crazy. Obviously, somebody's just come into the house and she is, all I can hear is her tippy-tappy feet going mad out there. She's obviously dancing for whoever's just come in. And then we're going to fold this in half, right sides together, and then just stitch down 1/4 inch all the way down, like that. And back stitch again. Before I leave the machine, the other thing I'm going to do while I'm, oh, actually, no, I'm not. I was going to do that first, and I can't because we need to do this bit first. First of all, you want to pull this through. Just grab my forceps. There we go. Pull that through. Oh, excuse me.
Sarah, I'm guessing you're nearly there now. So shall I go and round up the others, ready for in about 2-3 minutes?
Absolutely. Get them back in. I'm going to be about another 2 minutes, love. I reckon, if that.
Okay,
just to
I shall go and round them up.
Yeah. There we go. So I've pulled that tube through. You can see there's the seam just there. You want to move that to the center, okay, so that it's nice and flat, and give that a quick press. There we go, like that. And then you're going to feed in one of the points. So kind of shove that all together like that. We're going to feed in one of the points into the tube. There we go. Okay, so it's not tricky. I tend, again, get a pair of tweezers or pliers, get in there, grab hold of the edge of the handle and pull. Okay, so you've got this funny little messy knot like this. All right, there's my corner there. I'm going to grab the other corner this side, and we're just going to put them right sides together, on top of each other like that, not right sides together. And we're going to put a couple of little stitches here. So we're going to quickly do that on the machine. So I'm just going to literally just back and forth a couple of times just to secure them together. There we go. That's it, all done. Okay, and then take some time to trim off all those ends. You can do it very quickly, but yeah, take your time, make it neat. And then you can pull the tube back over that little join like that, and it creates, fold your fabric nicely so that it sort of sits in nicely, and you've created that little handle. Now you can, if you want to, then just put a couple of little hand stitches either side just to hold the handle in place, but to be honest, it doesn't need it. It doesn't need it. It does, because of the weight of whatever's in the bag, it doesn't tend to move. You can also, if you want to, top stitch around this edge as well if you want, which is really nice. But again, it's not needed, but they are incredibly useful. I think they'd be super cute little as party favors, you know, for Christmas tables and stuff. Do them in Christmas fabric and make them really nice and little. You can put a couple little chocolates in there on everyone's plate. So that's super quick. Bento bags, mega quick to do, really lovely for presents. So yeah.
Hold on, I'll come back. There you go. That's better. That's me, not my hands. Just getting myself ready.
Mm. It is.
Cute.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, she has to go into detention, but detention's in her sewing room.
Hayley, are you muted, darling? Are you muted?
Oh, it's because I'm trying to be quiet when people are doing stuff, you see.
Just go get my drink.
But what I was saying is I needed to do some admin that I forgot about. So Secret Sewing Club doesn't work the same as the TV shopping that you may have previously seen us on. This is all done as a bit more of a collective. If you see things you like, then you need to order them directly from the websites and the people who are demonstrating. So to do that, if you're watching on your big telly, if you've got us on YouTube, I will just, Hayley, I'm just going to whack you up temporarily just so I can show where your QR code is. So if you see,
yeah, no problem. Do you want to show the website?
QR code in that top corner. And if you click on that, it will take you directly to her website and directly to the products that she has on today. So you should.
Hayley, I think they're still saying that you've got no sound up, sweetheart.
I've done the button and everything. Give it a minute though, because I know it's got a little bit of a delay on. Yeah, it has. Can you hear me now? I'm assuming people can. So yes, in that top corner there's a QR code. So if you're watching on your big telly, if you're watching on YouTube or your iPad or something like that, then that's the way we recommend that you do it, that you watch via one device and then have your phone free, because then you can scan that QR code. That will take you directly to whoever's demonstrating. It will take you directly to their website, and then away you go. You can grab everything from there. Let me just see. Oh, mine's gone wonky donkey. There we go. We'll go all back together again. Perfect. Can hear Hayley now. Hayley's very quiet. Yes, sorry. It's because I keep muting myself to stop interfering with other people's demonstrations, because I don't want to do that. So yes, if you can, watch on either through YouTube or on your, like a tablet or something other, basically another device. Because then if you've got your phone free, you can grab there and get straight to people's websites to have a look at. Exactly. Perfect demonstration there. Thank you, Hayley West. John's just off on one. There, no, he's back. There you go.
Not off on one.
Back.
You know what it is?
It's you next.
I'm on the last row of this quilt that I've just made, and I've got that gorgeous Tula backing on it. And I'm just, when I get so excited about my long arming, I just want to put it all on and get it all done and dusted.
Envy here.
Okay,
Love
right,
it.
John, are you ready to go with your demo?
Probably going to have tons of technical difficulties. I'm new at this, so you're all going to be very kind and
Everybody's
lovely.
very kind and very patient here.
Because now I'm going to plug in the other camera, which is normally where everything collapses. So bear with, Paula.
Okay, well, I'll
Have
not
you
put
got
everybody else. There you go.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm going to turn you up a little bit because you're quite quiet there, John. So
No,
I will fix
God,
that.
no
on
one's
my end.
ever said that.
No, nobody said nobody ever.
Rude. That's why you're my friend and I love you. So I thought Thank you, darling. I thought I would bring you something a little bit different. I run a teeny tiny little shop, as you can see. That is the extent of it here in Hertfordshire. 500 square feet, filled to every single corner with beautiful fabric and gorgeousness. But something that I'm I'm doing a lot of at the minute is English paper piecing. Now, I know a lot of people do English paper piecing and a lot of people don't. So I thought what I would do is I would show you how I do my English paper piecing. Now, this is my way. It doesn't mean it's the right way. I'm a boy. I get very distracted. So what I do is I first of all buy a giant box. And I buy a giant box for every project. I know, it's ridiculous. It's proper first world problems. Even projects that I haven't even started doing. So what I've got here is my bag of hexagons, all my hexagons that I've cut out, my English paper piecing, because I've got a standard pack of things that I do for all of them, but I always keep them in a box. Everything, the pattern, the thread, every single piece of fabric, all the papers, because what happens, we've all done this, if you're going to stick to a specific fabric range, if you don't buy it then and there and you haven't got enough of it, when you try and find it later on, you lose it and you can't have it, and it's just so annoying. So what I've done here, this was an English paper piecing demo I did from that there Jenny Jackson gorgeous book. Make sure you check it out. So what I did here is I made this beautiful piece over here, but it was going on top of each other, and I just, sorry, it was that way. I just loved the way this worked. So what I wanted to do was to have all the fabric together. So I then make sure that all of my fabric, all the solids, everything go into one box. So that's my top tip on those. And English paper piecing, I don't believe, is meant to be a fast sport. I started this 10 years ago, and I'm going to show you how far I've gotten. And you can see this is all with Stuart Hillard's first collection of fabric. And you can tell I've done one end, but then I haven't done this bit, and I haven't done this bit. So these English paper piecing projects, when they're finished, they look glorious. They look amazing. They look stunning. But it takes years to get to that point. Years. And I feel really sad because this specific one, I ended up buying on eBay for £28, and it's got thousands of hexagons in it. So please finish your pieces and get them done, get them made, because you end up picking these up on eBay for next to nothing. And it's absurd because, like, this one hasn't even been finished, but it's still got all the papers in. So I just say keep everything together, because that way then if something happens and you can't keep the project or you want to get rid of it, you then are able to then have everything together in one spot. Now, when doing any form of stitching, there is one thing that I will always recommend to everybody, and that is a really good unpicker. Now, my preferred unpicker is this clover one. Okay, now if you look on my website, I Quilt Studio, you'll be able to find that these are there under the Secret Sewing Club block. You'll be able to find those. That to me is the best unpicker I've ever bought. We've all bought £1 little ones that we've used. We use it 3 or 4 times. It doesn't work. These are incredible. I love them. I think they're amazing. Thread. I usually use the Orifle. I use Orifle Grey, but I don't stick to just Orifle. I use this is a monofilament, I think it's called. So it's just a case of any form of thread you want to use, make sure that you're doing it and keep it in the box to a lot of your project. And I never have my thread longer than from my elbow to my thumb, because when you're pulling it through, it ends up, because I always knot my threads as well, I always have a double thread on it. When you pull it through, it can get tangled and messy, and that is not what we want for our projects. I also use these Soline glue pens. These Soline glue pens, you buy them in a pack like this. It's got the pen, which has a refill in it, and then it's got a free one. I think these are £7.50 on my website at the moment. And what it is you get 3 different colors. You get blue, you get pink, and you get yellow. And those are, for me, everybody's different. So I'm quite heavy with my glue because, for example, these hexagons for the current project I'm working on with Stuart, I glued this 9 years ago. It's still stuck solid. That's 9 years. But I do make sure I keep it in my little bag, my little box that's sealed. It's in a dark place, and I have a silica gel thing. You know, when you buy your shoes and you get those little silica gels that absorb the moisture, I always put one of those in there as well, because I find it doesn't then cause any problem with the glue. So I get about 40 hexagons per thing. Sometimes I get 20, sometimes I get 40. It just depends. You get into a groove. Sometimes you're a bit heavy, sometimes you're a bit light. So that's what I get on those. And then these, I think, are £2.50 for 2. As I said, there's blue, yellow, and pink. It doesn't matter what color it goes on. It all dries completely clear. So if you get a yellow one, it dries clear. So if you're dealing with fabrics which are a bit lighter and you don't want to be using the yellow, that's fine. Get the blue or the pink. But they dry exactly the same all the way through. Now, to do them is so easy. To glue them all down. Now, this is where it's going to get technical. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to try and clear the decks here. Video source. Woohoo! It works. So what you're going to do is you're going to get your piece of stabilizer. Now, this is a different product, which I'm going to do the demo on anyway, and then talk to you about it after the fact. And then what I do is I always get my fabric. And what you want is it to be about 1/4 of an inch to 3/8 of an inch wider than what your piece of stabilized board is, whether it be English paper, or whether it be normal fabric, or whether it be this quick screen triangle. And then you put the glue down. Now you can see that has gone on really yellow. Okay, so that's what. So immediately that's fine. You can then see the yellow. So when you fold this over, that is now caught your fabric and it will stick down. What you do want to be mindful of is when you've got this glue on, you don't really want to do what I've just done and put the glue. Whoops, my magnetic scissors caught my needle there. What you don't want to be doing is putting the glue right on the edge over there, because what happens is when it dries, that lumpy glue that's there will then cause, when you come and put your needle through it, that'll be a bit more difficult for you to do. So where I put the yellow over here, you can see that that's kind of where you want to do. And then you're just quite simply going to fold your fabric over and hold that down like that. And then you're going to do the same on all of the 6 sides. Now you just pick a direction to rotate in. It doesn't really matter which way around you do it. What is important is that when you're folding your fabric over, that you're not bending your stabilized piece over here. You're not bending your paper, or if you're using quick screen triangle, you're not bending it. And this glue, you use it, and the first time you wash it, it will completely and utterly wash away. You don't need to worry about the, if you're leaving your stabilizer in. But if you're not leaving your stabilizer in and you want to peel it off, you will have no problem whatsoever getting the fabric out, because it will just gently peel away. And as I said, the Stuart Hillard ones that I'm busy working on, those have been glued for 8 years, and I've no issue. They're not coming apart at all. If they do come apart and you do have a situation, I can show you on one that I prepared earlier. So you can see this one is completely there. If it does come apart, I'll pull this back for you. And you can see this was done with a pink. I'm hoping that will adjust. You can see it completely dry and clear. If you do pull it out and it has got that, all you do is you take the little nozzle of your pink, of your glue stick, you do that, back, and it re-glues down. So it doesn't matter if it comes apart, you've still got the stability of the glue holding it back there. So these are so simple to be able to use these. I know that there are many different people who will do the basting technique, will actually take a needle and thread and will go around and stitch all of their pieces together. And that is amazing. Well done. I think that's great. If that's what you want to do, fabulous. I know for myself, I don't have that type of time. So for me, I'm always looking for things that are really quick and that make my life a little easier, which save me a bit of time. Because when I'm doing my sewing, I want to make sure that I'm getting the best out of the time I've got available to do it. And for me, these are really easy to use, because all I do is sit in front of the television. I get myself a nice little tray that I would have my dinner on, and then quite simply go around and then English paper, I would glue down as many of these pieces as I can. Now, as you saw, I'm using a product here called Quick Screen Triangle. Now, the reason I've done that is I love English paper piecing. I love being able to stick these together. You make your nice little flowers of different fabrics. But there are people out there, one of the ladies who works with me, who cannot abide hand stitching. She hates it. She thinks it's the worst thing in the entire world. She hates doing it. So this quick screen triangle, the reason I'm showing you that is what's so special is what you do is you can see both of these are glued down onto quick screen triangle, one more securely than others, bear with caller. And when you've done that, you can then turn this round, and all you do is you put those two together, and you can now go with your sewing machine and do a zigzag stitch all the way along there. And with all the different hexagons that you've glued down, you can then go and you can then just piece using your sewing machine all the way around. And because the stabilizer remains in with the product, you don't actually have to take these out at all. You can wash them up to a 30-degree. You can quilt it as you normally would. And that quick screen triangle is £4.50 for a half meter. And that's by, I think it's 90 centimeters. So you get an enormous amount of these hexagons out of the quick screen triangle if you want to try it that way. And you can do it exactly the same as English paper piecing if you want to do it by hand and you want to stitch down there. But if you do want to then use your sewing machine to do it really quickly, it's exactly the same as using a finer paper here for your English paper piecing. And it's a really nice way of being able to then do it both ways.
Hi, John. Just a couple of quick things that have popped up while you were doing that. One, apparently your QR code's not right. I've not put the right QR code up. We are posting it on the Facebook page, so people can, head to your correct website, or it is iquilt.studio if they want to head directly to your website. I am trying to fix it. However, the program that I need to fix it is on the computer that I'm streaming from, and I don't want to try and knock us offline by
No, we're
trying
not
to
going to do
fix
that.
it.
So just really, really simple. The website to find is so simple. www.iquilt, so a little I, quilt.studio. So it's easily found there. And you just go to store at the top, you'll be able to then get to all the different things, and there'll be a little button that says Secret Sewing Club with all the products that we're talking about.
And
One last thing to show you is it doesn't just have to be hexagons. Look at these incredible designs from these incredible people. You've got Tula Nova, you've got Libs Elliott. We've got really simple ones like these. And then if you really want to get advanced, you can go and do a snowflake one with that there Adidas Satar. You've got these incredible simple designs that come out at different sizes. I think that one's only 15.5 by 18. You've got all these things. And then you go to the higher grade level with these people who are so talented and make something so beautiful like that. And that's got all of the papers that you'd need to be able to make that quilt and do it, with the patterns included in most of them.
brilliant. I've got a question from Nikki Emerson,
Hi,
and
Nikki.
it's about the quick square, not quick square, the triangles.
Extreme triangle, yeah.
Yes. So if keeping it in, couldn't you put it in the other way and then iron the fabric onto it, then only needing to glue the overlapping parts?
This isn't a fusible.
Ah,
So the quick screen triangle is not fusible. So it's just a woven, and you can see it's really lightweight. So it isn't fusible. So you can't do that.
okay, perfect. That is absolutely perfect. Right. Have you got anything else to show us, or do you want me to pull everybody back together?
App together is all good. I think I nailed all three.
You might have to just chat amongst yourself for a minute because Sarah appears to have gone AWOL.
Well, that's okay. Well, shall I show you my long arm quilting for a minute or two?
Okay, and I'll see if I can go and find. I'll just go and find Sarah. Oh, John, you've unplugged your microphone.
Hear me now?
Yes, you're back in the room. Perfect.
Right. So long arm quilting, I know many of you have seen it and some of you wouldn't have. You get this giant machine. So like mine, it's 14 foot long. And what you do is you put your backing on this roller. You then put your quilt top on this roller here, and then you put your wadding in between. And you then have I use a computer program over here, which you can then log in your different designs and where you are. And you then can go and design and stitch whatever area you want to do. And I'm just repositioning my quilt at the moment because it's come to the end. course, now you need 2 hands. So I'm just going to put you over here so you can watch me from across the room and I won't be quite so bouncy.
I think you might have lost your sound again, John.
Hello. Hear me now?
Yes, I don't know what you keep pressing, but you keep pressing something.
Sorry about that. So the great thing about this is then the machine goes through and stitches it all. And the only reason I'm showing it is that I know a lot of people are very stressed out about Christmas presents. But if your quilts are ready to go, I still have availability if anybody's looking, and you can book that all in on the website as well.
Perfect.
Just pop onto the long.
Right, I shall get everybody back with us because we have located. Oh, one of my lights is going out. Sorry, I've got a little bit of a disco situation on because one of my batteries in one of my lights has got low. It's fine. We can have disco. It's absolutely
Like
fine.
rounding up kittens.
Isn't it? It's honestly, I don't know why
Or
I
ducks.
signed myself up for this. Sometimes I do wonder. Because this morning I got up at 6 o'clock, drove back from down south so I could do this. But he's getting new Wi-Fi,
Wow.
so hopefully in the future I won't need to do the mad drive back up to be able to do this. So it's all good. It is all good.
Bless you.
So Hayley West, or the Hayley as we like to refer to
Tis
each other.
Yeah. Or Smith and West, I think it was. We were known as
that
for a
works
while.
too. That works too. What's your
Ooh,
demo for today? Is it for
lost
your
my
advent
earphone.
calendars or is it for one of your fancy sewing patterns I had a little look at?
Well, it's actually, well, I made a list. I had to go back and look at the list because I couldn't remember what I put on the list. But basically, it's a bit of all sorts. It kind of coincides. Sorry, I'm just having problems with my earpiece. So yeah, it just coincides with Black Friday. So there's some discounts that are kind of on the website, but they're also on the secret sewing club kind of
Do you
section
need
as
a
well.
minute?
No, it's all right. It's just I'm on a cable, so I'm a bit like
I
a dog
know.
on a
I feel
retractable lead.
your pain. I got an extension to my cable, so it's a bit better now.
Well, I
I'm
was
going to
just
show
having a
you
look
my
at,
desk.
I was just having a look to see if there was such a thing. So you need to let me have a link for that
Okay,
because I
no
need one of
problem.
those definitely.
Okay, I shall hand it over to you.
But if I'm standing like this in a casual manner, it's because my ear is closer to my computer when I stand like this. But there we go. So yeah, Hayley. That is. I need one of those for sure. So yeah, lots of things going on at Handmade by Hayley at the moment. 1st of December. So it's the first day of our window, if you will, for our digital advent calendar, and this is the 3rd year that we've run it. And what happens is you kind of sign up, and I'll show you on the website in a moment. And what happens is through December, you will get from the 1st of December, including Christmas Day, you will get an email with notification of a brand new pattern or project or part of a bigger project, because feedback last year was it'd be nice to have components that ended up being a bigger project. So that's kind of been interwoven with the whole thing this year as well. So yeah, it all kicked off this morning. First email went out, had some lovely responses from people. So I thought, well, we'll look at window 1's project, and then kind of I'll show you how that works and how it all comes together. On the website, though, when you go to our Secret Sewing Club section, there are a few Black Friday deals. One of them was a kind of a kit from last year's advent calendar. I've only got probably about half a dozen of those left. They're now $4.99. Includes all the fabric for the front, the back, as well as the pattern. And that is one of the downloads from 2023. But we've done a bit of a deal for you guys to say thank you for persevering with us and coming back again. We've done you a bit of a deal. So if you go to Handmade by Hayley, and it's the Secret Sewing Club section, using the QR code, you will find that you can shop for the 2024 advent calendar, which is available. And then you will automatically get, included with your order, if you add it into the basket as well, the 2023. Now, I've gone very quiet. Can't hear anything. Just make sure I haven't unplugged myself. So yeah, so you'll get basically 2023 for free. That's only if you shop until midnight tonight, though, because that's when that discount ends. So let me show you, all being well, the computer. So on our website, all you need to do is, well, you can see them because they're kind of hot products at the moment. So you can see that they're there featuring on the home page. So you've got 2024, which is $32.99, and you're getting 25 projects with that one. One each day, or 25 elements. And then on the last year's one, we've got that as a discounted price, but if you buy the two together, then you're not paying $14.99 for that one. So all you need to do, if you're looking for the Secret Sewing Club section, just kind of search for it. So just put in, you only need to put in secret and it should come up from that. She says confidently. It's not having it, but anyway, you add the products to your basket. Hold on, let's add in that one. Go in, there we go. So I'll add that one to my basket, like so. Then if I go back to continue shopping, or go back to the home page, add in the 2023 one, then you're not actually going to be paying anything extra. So remember to do that if you are shopping for it, and you will get both of those. So there's a 2023 one. We've got deals on shacket patterns, the jumpsuit patterns, so you can check those out as well if you're wanting to. But if you are wanting to go for the 2023, just double click on that one, add that one into your basket as well, and the total will just be $32.99 for both of them. And you'll get email straight away showing you basically how to access those. So if you go to your cart, there we go, view cart, you'll see that it's free. Okay. What you'll also find is when you go to our website, you can set up a little section where you can literally log in and you have access to your downloads. So when you log in, I'm not logged in at the moment, but there'll be a button there that will say my downloads, and you can access them at any time. But they are emailed through to you, and then it's a case of that you just literally print it off if you're wanting to. And if you do print it off, you will end up with, well, today's pattern is this fabulous tote, and underneath I have got the pattern there. So that's the project for window number 1, and we've got 24 other windows that will be opened right the way through to Christmas. And this is utilizing a very clever technique, which sometimes took me quite a while to get my head around foundation piecing, I'm not going to lie, but it's a nice simple pattern to get your head around the concept, because you can do some amazing things with your foundation kind of piecing. But it's understanding the kind of the process, and the process is the same pretty much for whichever pattern you work with. So keep it simple to start with, get that concept in your head, and then start investigating and looking at other projects. So when you download the pattern, you will end up with something along the lines of this. And this is pretty much similar to the different patterns you'll get throughout the course of the month. You'll get full instructions, loads of photos, showing you what you need to do. I've got quite a cheap printer, so it's coming out. It looks okay there. But you'll also get things like your templates. So your templates are there. Everything is for your own use. You can make and sell what you've created. All I ask is, as any designer would ask of you, please don't share these with anybody. I know it's very tempting to kind of be generous and share with your mates, but this is our livelihood. And for 25 patterns, it's took a lot of work. So yeah, I think that the price is fair. So by all means, do pass the details on to your friends where they can shop for them as well. And hopefully we'll get more join our little kind of band, so to speak. So I've gone ahead and I've cut out the template you will use, because you'll actually stitch through this. So when you're stitching through, obviously you can't reuse it. So that's why it says there you can photocopy as you required. So yeah, over and over again. And these will become your pencil tops. So they are very conveniently sized to work with your strip rolls, because they've all got tons of those, absolutely tons of those. My earpiece has come off again. Oh gosh, I either need a longer cable or longer arms, one or the other, not sure which. So you'll end up with your little paper template, and that's going to create these top parts of your pencils, and then the body of the pencil is done with the remainder of the strip roll, or part of the strip roll. And this, you can adapt this to be whatever length that you like. So if you're wanting to make it into a longer bag, if you want to make it into a smaller case or something like that, then you can do. This is kind of the action end. You decide what you do with the rest of it. So talking about the action end, let's get our template. And it's kind of like a repetitive process. But what you will find is you'll always start, let's get a little bit closer. You'll start off with most paper piecing patterns that you get. You will find that you start with number 1. Sometimes it can be number 1 and a letter relating to the actual fabric you're using. Can be a combination of the two, but I've actually put on these just to remind you beige. It doesn't have to be beige. I mean, it works with any color, but it's kind of like the wooden section of a pencil, so to speak. So that's why I popped that in there, so as to remind you. Now, a couple of little things that you need to remember. I'm not a big rule follower, but sometimes needs must. You need to make sure that the fabrics are going to be covering the sections that you're working with. So make sure that, oh, sorry, there goes me leaning for my scissors. Oh, there we go. So make sure that the fabrics are covering the area that you're going to be concentrating on. So number 1, we're going to be covering beige. So just make sure that you've got a piece. And these, I mean, I'm using strip rolls. I could be going into my scrap bucket for this. Now, if you are new to paper piecing, this is the words of somebody who has experienced it. Try not to use pieces that are misshaped in your scrap bucket. I find it easier to have a nice, neat edge. And it is very tempting because you will cut away a fair bit of fabric, and it is very tempting to try and keep it as tight as you possibly can. That can make things a little bit difficult because what you're actually going to be doing is working almost like a mirror kind of formation. It will become apparent as time goes on. So piece 1, we're going to cover piece 1, but we're not going to cover the front because we're actually going to be working on the back, because as time goes on, we're going to be stitching through these lines that you've got. And you're going to be kind of flipping and rotating. So one of my top tips is to actually go along the lines that you've got. If you've got a ruler, then place the ruler on the line and just fold along the lines there. Just makes the pattern a little bit more fluid. Makes it easier for you to kind of fold it backwards and forwards when you're flipping and when you're cutting and things like that. Put a ruler along the edge if you're wanting to.
Just while you're folding that, Hayley, I have a couple of messages for you. So
oh, okay.
I have Liz. She said it's her 3rd advent calendar from you. And
oh,
says
Liz,
all
thank
fabulous.
you. Oh, that's really kind, because it's something you get a bit nervous of every year, that everybody's going to enjoy them. So thank you for that, Liz.
And I've got another one from Mandy saying she loves this pencil tote bag pattern. She downloaded her copy earlier today, and she's already sewn up 4 pencils for one side of the bag.
My goodness, speedy sewing, Mandy. Wow, speedy sewing. Oh, you need to share them. I can't wait to see what everybody's done with them, because I mean they're fabulous in the plain colours, but I imagine doing all sorts of kind of like ditzy prints and things like that. You could have a like Liberty pencil with a little bit of a pink on the end, all sorts of fun. So yeah, looking forward to see what everybody does with those.
And,
so
Sarah at White Gecko's just put up the link on the Facebook stream, so if anybody does want just the tote bag, then absolutely yes, they can get that as well.
That's right. Yeah, you don't have to go for all of them. The patterns themselves will start being released on the website as they are announced. I'm not putting them all on there now because that's going to spoil the surprise. So as the days evolve, they will become available, but you are going to be paying a lot more than the kind of $32.99 divided by 25. So it's the most economical way is to get it through the advent calendar. But I appreciate there might be just a couple that you want to shop for, so that's why we're doing it that way. So we're going to work on the flip side. Now, this piece of fabric needs to cover that area. And what it also needs to do is that little fold line that you need, it needs to extend beyond that by at least 1/4 inch. Now, I do mention in the instructions to make your piece 1/2 inch bigger than the area that you're covering. That's to make it a little bit easier for you to actually put it together. As time goes on, then yeah, that's fair enough. You may not need to keep it as big, but that's experience that will come as time goes on. So the idea being is that when you fold, you'll stitch along this line in a little while and you'll fold that back. So you need to have an area extending, so as the stitches, when they go through, are actually going into your fabric and you're not missing them. Because if that was lined up with the edge like so, then it's not stitching into anything. So you need to make sure that that stitch line is inside. As long as it's kind of 1/4 of an inch in, it can be as far as you want, but you will trim off that excess. So I tend to say just let it kind of extend about 1/4 of an inch. Now, a couple of things you can do. You can pin that in place then to secure it, which is okay. Depends on the type of pins that you've got, because when you actually come to stitch, and you will stitch through, you just need to be mindful that you don't catch your fingers, because I am terrible with pins for catching them in my skin. So what I tend to do is either use something like a basting glue, a little bit of washi tape, double-sided tape, something just to secure your fabric in place for probably only the first couple of fabrics that you're laying down. I mean, on this one, we're only laying down, what is it, 4 pieces, I think, something like that. Yeah, so it's not a lot anyway, but that will basically just keep your fabric in place if you're wanting to. It's a bit over egging the pudding, that one, because it's such a small template, but let's use just a little bit of quilter's tape, something a bit low tack. Now, when you're actually putting it on the back, this is plain fabric. I think this is one of the Craft Yourself silly strip roll. To be fair, I have quite a few of those. And you just basically just going to secure the fabric in place. If it is a pattern fabric and you've got a right and wrong side, then you're going to have it right side facing up. So you'll be looking at the pretty pattern.
If people are looking for that colour and it is a strip roll, I think it is being beige, which is one that has possibly been discontinued, but I think we've got about 3 or 4 rolls left of it.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, you could go beige, you could go lighter if you wanted to, you could go a bit darker. Yeah, but if something kind of woody coloured. Have you got another one that's woody coloured? You always have some really fancy names.
I'll have a little think and I'll come back to you on that one.
No problem. Now, I'm not going to waste too much fabric, so I am going to eke it up towards the end. And obviously, because there's no pattern on there, I don't have to worry about it being directional or being straight or anything like that. So that is going to be our first piece. Now, before we do any sewing at all, we're going to come in with our second piece. So our second piece is a little tiny triangle, and I've chosen a blue fabric for this one. So again, I wouldn't usually go into a strip roll. I'd go into my scrap bucket because it seems such a shame, doesn't it, going into something like that. But then all you do is place this fabric. And what I would do then, because you've got a nice straight edge, I can take the straight edge here and place that so as it lines up nicely. Now, what I'm doing in the process is making sure that that second piece of fabric is more than covering that little triangle that I need to be covered. As you can see, it's way big enough, plenty there. But if you want to double check, what you can do is just fold the fabric back. Imagine you've stitched along there. You could even put a pin in there if you wanted to. And you just would fold that back along that stitch line. And then you can actually see where that triangle is through, and you know that you're going to be covering it. If you've got a light box, or you could hold it up to a window if you wanted to, that's another way of double checking. But that's where the kind of the flipping and the rotating can kind of get a bit confusing at times. So yeah, that's why I take it slow and make it easy. Keep a nice straight edge, because if that's a bit jagged, then it make it a bit trickier. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it over and then put a pin in place to keep those together. You'd naturally think, oh, I'll put a pin in that side, but when you take it to your sewing machine, it's going to be balancing on that glass head pin. So I don't want it to. I want that to sit nice and flat. And then I'm going to stitch that little kind of tiny seam that we've got there between sections 1 and 2. So let's go over to SewCam. There you go. This could kind of go 1 or 2 ways, because it's an autofocus camera. So it kind of zooms in and zooms out and goes a bit kind of skewy-whiffy. But we'll see how we go. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make my stitches smaller. So my machine automatically defaults to 2.5. I'm going to take it down to 1.5. Now it's quite bright there, but hopefully, can you see what I mean? Sorry, it keeps kind of rectifying itself. I'll keep my hands out of the way and it should behave for a little while. So what we're going to do is going to stitch that line that goes between section 1 and 2. So it's only, gosh, it's probably not even an inch across, is it? Tiny amount there. I'm going to drop my needle down, and I'm literally just drop my head down so that I can actually see where it is going in, and it is actually going to go through the paper and it needs to go where that join is. Okay, so when you're happy with that, then obviously keep it where it is. If you've got the ability to have your machine stop with the needle down, definitely activate that at this point, because you will need to do that. And we're not going to extend behind that diagonal line that is making the other side of the triangle. You can, if you want to, just gently hold on to your fabric. You can do a little tie-off stitch if you want to, or what you can do is just hold on to your fabric to stop it moving. So I've got a tie-off stitch, but I'm also holding onto the fabric so it's not moving through. And then when you're happy that you've tied those stitches off, just gently work your way along to the other side of the kind of junction. Okay, and then when you're happy, now I didn't activate my needle down, and again I'm just going to hold the fabric and just stitch a couple of times on the spot just to make sure that that's secured. And then I'm just going to cut those threads and get away from this awkward camera, because it does my head in, so I'm sure it'll be doing your heads in as well. And then I will show you where we've got to. So
Hayley,
there you go.
A little bit of tape, if you put it over the light on the sewing machine just to dull it down a bit, that will probably help you out.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, I'll have to look at that.
Tips.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Well,
I will do that.
It's a tip. I don't know how top tip it is. Is David not running
I'm just trying to get.
Can you not get him to run in with a bit of sticky tape?
I think he's doing football now.
He's doing football now.
Watching, not doing.
Oh, I was going to say. I know David, and I can't see that.
In his day, he probably did, but probably not this. He's kind of the wrong side of a certain age. There you go. Put a bit of tape on there and see if that does anything.
I shall leave that there,
and we'll come back to it.
And let you get back to your demonstration.
Thank you, but that's top tip. I'll try that one out. So I've stitched my line, so you can see I've stitched my line. Now, obviously, it's penetrated the pattern, so it's a bit like a postage stamp now. So that's quite vulnerable. Just be quite gentle while you're moving your pattern around, because you could very easily tear this. Now, something has happened, and I'm kind of glad it has happened, because what sometimes can happen is when you are stitching, you're not always paying attention to what your fabrics are doing underneath. So you can see that as it was being stitched, flipped over probably as I passed it under the sewing machine, and I didn't notice that. So it's not the end of the world. All you're going to be doing is just kind of snipping it to the side of it. Don't cut through the stitches. We're not going to need that bottom corner of fabric as time goes on, so you just kind of manipulate it out of the way, and there you go. You're going to be okay. And then what will happen is you will open that up like so. You can use the heat of your finger to make that sit flat, or sometimes I use one of these little rollers. We've got those on the website if you need something like that, and that will make that nice and flat like so. And then what we're going to do is going to come back over to section number 3. So what happens then is we're going to take the pattern and we're going to fold it along that line alongside piece area 3, let's call it. So I'm going to fold that back, and I'm going to come in with a little cutting mat, because I'm going to trim off to make myself a straight edge. Remember I was talking about straight edges helping. They really are your friend when it comes to doing this. So I'm going to come in with my ruler. This is my Handmade by Hayley ones. Again, these ones are on the website. There's a set that you can get. Line it up so you've got your 1/4 inch mark, and then just cut away the excess fabric. Okay, get rid of that. And that's giving me my nice neat edge then for me to come in with my next fabric. And my next fabric is actually going to be black to create that kind of section at the side that we were looking at with the pencil. So that kind of top corner there. So coming in with, again, just a bit of black fabric, could be from a strip roll, could be from your bucket. Try and keep the fabrics of a similar sort of weight. That's my advice as well. So kind of like your quilting cotton or whatever. I've done that with a pair of scissors. It's not completely straight, but that doesn't matter. But again, right sides facing together. So I'm going to turn that over. Right side, well, there isn't a right and wrong really. I'm just going to place that down again, lining it up like so, flipping it over. I'm going to stitch from that point down to that point, and then we'll do the same process as we've done before. So you'll see that you've got that repetitive nature going on with this. So let's go back over to the sewing machine. I've put a little bit of tape on there. Whether it'll be enough, I don't know. It's quite a bright light. I didn't notice before. Yeah. I need, gaffer tape probably. I'll only be here for a second though, so yeah, put your sunglasses on for a moment. Down along the edge, there we go. secure those there, and get rid of that, and bring it back over to the machine. There we go, and then flip that back. And also as well, what you will notice is you're kind of working in a mirror. So when you were looking at it this side, that's on the right hand side, but because the back becomes the correct size, it's on the left. So if you're doing anything, and you should find this from whoever's designed the pattern, if there's anything that has got a direction to it, as in a letter or a number or something like that, then you will look at the pattern and it will look back to front. And that's correct, because when you flip it over, it will be the right side round. Now at this stage, you could trim away that excess if you're wanting to. We've got quite a bit there, so I am going to trim away some of it. The outside of the pattern will be your cutting edge when we come to kind of piece everything together. And again, just flip it over. Use fingernail, use seam roller, use your iron if you're wanting to. And then we've done that piece. Okay, so then we go back. We're going to fold. We're going to trim. You catch that? Yeah. We're going to line up our fabrics, and then we are going to sew. So you can see you kind of do the same process over and over again. Now this is a bit of an odd shaped piece, so before I go sewing that, I'm just going to do myself a little bit of a favor, pretend I've stitched it, make sure it's covering that area, which it is, and then yeah, off we go again. So rather than glaring at you, I'm going to pop you onto a different screen, so just for a few moments, but I can still hear you. So any questions, Hayley, that have popped up?
Sorry, I was doing. Oh, hello. You've just got a.
You're doing stuff.
You've just got doing stuff.
That was right. I put that up rather than glaring.
Strangely enough, most of the questions are coming through on Facebook. There's not as many coming through on YouTube, but that's fine. We're checking them both. And Sara from White Gecko has kind of keeps putting your link up for your website.
Oh, thank you, Sara.
Your QR code is fully functional, so you.
Absolutely. First time I've ever been fully functional, I think.
Well, I wouldn't guarantee it's going to last, but you know.
That's fair enough. We're having a lovely time. It doesn't matter, does it? So there we go. I've now completed all of the different sections. Oh, I'm not showing you, am I?
No, you haven't switched. You haven't switched. There we go. You're back.
There we go. I'm back in the room. So now I've completed all of the different sections. Try and keep your sewing as neat as you can. So if you've got any kind of little strands of thread, it's good to kind of do a bit of housekeeping as you're going, trimming those off, getting them out of the way. And then again, all we're going to do is move that, make sure that all of those pieces are kind of trimmed back, which they are automatically. Give that a little bit of a press. So let me just bring out, right, pressing that and give it a quick once over. Like so, just make sure it's all sitting nice and flat. So I'm happy with the way that has come. What I needed to do, a bit of a schoolgirl error. When I was doing that last seam, I forgot it needs to go right to the edge there. I only stopped at the point. So what's happened there is when I've actually opened that up, you can see you've got that flappy bit, and that's because what I do actually need to do is take that seam along the complete run. So I'm just going to very quickly do that. So it's only going to be a couple of stitches. So we'll just leave what's on the screen at the moment. You can have a look at my lovely rotating cutting process. There we go. Bring that back into the room. And then once I've done that, all I'm going to do, well, I've already started doing it really, hadn't I? Press it and make it all nice and flat. Then come in and trim it down. Get rid of that thread. Trim it down. Now, the actual sewing bit, you can see, the bit that you'll see within your seams, is the inner rectangle. The outer rectangle has got your 1/4 inch seam allowance. So trim it to the edge of that paper, and then it is ready for you to attach to your pencil body, if you will, if that's the right phrase. So trim it all the way down, get rid of all of those excess bits of fabric, and you can have a proper good play. I mean, you could make absolutely loads of these with little scraps. I mean, it's quite a quick little make, this section. Then what you're going to do is basically remove the papers. So just be careful as you're removing them, and remove them in reverse order. So number 4 was the last one. So all I'm going to do is just take that, and because you've perforated it, and this is where it's a good idea to have a little stitch, you can literally just kind of take that like a postage stamp and then tear that away. Don't get too kind of heavy-handed with it, because you don't want to kind of disrupt your stitches. And by having small stitches, it helps, but it also makes it tricky if you do need to unpick. So yeah, what is it, the old phrase, check twice before you commit yourself. Now this was the bit that got the sticky tape on there, so I'm just going to support that and remove that. But that now is our pencil top. So all I would do then is come in with the strip roll to whatever length the pattern says, or whatever length that I want to make the pencil, and then just right sides together. I would just stitch across that, press it, and then in the pattern it explains to you the gaps that you've got between the pencils and how to actually make the bag up itself. But there you go. That's how you make your pencils with your foundation piecing. Perfect. And make a complete and utter mess in the process.
Excellent. I'm just trying to locate Sara from White Gecko Craft Lounge. Oh, she's there. She's there.
She's back in the room.
Whew. Oh, back in the room. Well, you see, now you've all got these sneaky little kind of, when you're not on camera, little kind of graphics
hidey
things, so we can't see you, which is
we've got
not a terrible
places.
thing. Not a terrible thing, because everybody does have to be kind of around, don't they? Oh,
that's it. We're still here. We're not gone far.
I've still got you muted. Bear with, caller. Hang on. I've got Hayley West, but I've got the other two that are currently muted. Let me go fix you.
Oh, Jean's asked a question. What's Jean asked there? Could you copy the lines onto stitch and tear and leave it in? I suppose you could do.
Yeah, well,
if you wanted to.
Sarah's actually got some, well, I think you're calling them fabric foundation piecing bits, because she does them on fabric, don't you? And you just leave the whole thing in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so we have the foundation piecing for our designs printed onto fabric, so you can actually leave it in, because I love foundation piecing. I am obsessed with your pencils. They're gorgeous.
Thank you.
Yeah,
but that's a good idea. I suppose it depends on how fluid you want the fabric to be afterwards, as to whether you want it's almost like an extra stabilizer.
To get the papers out of the stitches. It's one of those things I've always been like, I don't like that bit. So we have to print it on the fabric, because I love the designs, but I can never be bothered with the paper bit. So you've got more patience for me, obviously.
Makes sense. Oh, I was only 4 pieces on that one, but some of them can be quite complex, can't they?
Yeah.
Can you actually print directly onto that your foundation paper fabric?
Hayley prints them for us. So Hayley prints all of our foundation piecing onto fabric, and then you can leave that in, because it's a lightweight cotton, and we leave it in. So
ladies, I love foundation paper piecing, and I make these amazing flowers. But what I do is I always leave the papers in until such time as it comes time to quilt it. And then at that point, I always find somebody in the office who's having a particularly bad day, that they get to tear and rip and pull them all out. But what I love about it is that when you do it like this, using only solid fabric, and then you just add that gorgeous pop of color in the border, you can make the most incredible thing with it. Because foundation paper piecing it's insane at what you can do with it. I love it.
Clever idea. Yeah, I love those lovely designs.
And it's also quite good.
So this is my FPP beginners class.
When you've got the really sharp points and things on it, and maybe you're doing more kind of pictorial ones. When you've got those really fine pieces, there's no other way to do it other than foundation piecing.
A lot of people will use it for their regular blocks as well, won't they? For whatever reason, they don't like lining things up. So it's a nice technique once you get your head around it, because it's this kind of, it's like the orientation thing that kind of
down. It's just what it is. It's back, front, and upside down.
Absolutely.
I am going to give
As
you
you can tell.
Rest.
Last one, I promise. Second last one. I hate foundation paper piecing, but this is a new kit that I'm putting out next week. But look at those points.
Yeah.
I mean, it is great for that and getting those really kind of accurate points.
You
can't
can
fault
go
it with that.
insane and then buy somebody else's pattern and do a 90 by 90 inch one,
Oh,
Wow.
all FPP, and your life is not worth living that way. It's really hard. Then you peel as you go. It's just not worth leaving it. But it's incredible. I
Yeah.
love FPP.
right. I am going to leave you guys for 2 seconds because we have a new exciting announcement which I'm going to do
Yeah.
and let everybody know about a couple of bits and pieces that are going on for the Secret Sewing Club. So just bear with me 1 second. For some reason, mine has gone wonky donkey.
If I go like this and pull, will I get Hayley's wire?
The scraping along. Oh, Hayley, that other Hayley. Sorry.
Okay.
It's so hard to keep track of them all. And it's even worse when you're trying to deal with, Hayley will back me up here, when you're trying to deal with Sewing Street, when there's Hayley, and another lady there called Hayley. The emails are horrific.
Oh, you're tripping over Hayley's at
It's
Sewing Street. Yeah.
isn't it? Right, I shall see you guys in 2 seconds. I shall just
Okay,
go
bye.
do a little bit of admin and be right back with you. So, a couple of things that I need to tell you all about. So, one thing is I have tried to change my microphone to make that a bit louder, but for now I will just speak up and hopefully that will do the trick. So, one thing I wanted to show you was we have partnered with Creative Hideaways. Let me just grab the webpage so you can have a look. And we now have a Secret Sewing Club retreat, and it's going to be in April. Let me go and have a look here. It's let me see if I can get into it. It's at Coombe Abbey, and what you actually are getting is you are getting 4 different teachers in one day. So you are getting Sara from Daisy and Grace, you're getting Anthea from Quilting Antics, unfortunately you get me, and you also get Nicola from Daisy and Grace as well. All of your kits are provided on the day, so go and have a quick look on there. The link is creativehideaway.co.uk, and you can see the dates and when everything is on there. You can just do for the day, you can do the whole thing, you can stay over, your meals and everything else included. It is a fantastic package, so I will say, yeah, definitely go and have a look for that, especially if you've got somebody in your life who you're looking for a Christmas present for, or a special birthday present or something like that. This could be a brilliant treat for them. So let me switch back to this one. So yeah, definitely go and have a look. We'll be posting more about it during the week because it only got finalised kind of Friday yesterday. So we will be posting more about those during the week. But the way it's going to work is you're going to get 4 separate classes. So you'll have one in the morning, one in the afternoon, 2 different tutors, one in the morning, one in the afternoon on the Sunday, 2 different tutors. And everybody will be bringing kind of pop-up shops as well. So if you've really enjoyed a project and you get another one or get something along the same vein, that will all be there as well. So it's got kind of a mini market to it as well. So that is on, I believe it's the Easter weekend, because we did hum and haw about that as to whether the Easter weekend was the way to go, but we figured we'll got to give it a shot. So we've gone for it. Now, the other things I need to show you is we had on Friday a Black Friday sale. So I'll pop our Crafty Self Silly website out and let you have a little look on there. We still have now I don't know if any of these have gone and I haven't taken them off yet, but I'll show you them for now. We have loads of absolutely amazing Brother machines, and we did a big Facebook Live on Friday, being completely upfront and honest about them. They were bought as a job lot from the administrator at Create and Craft. So these are the machines that you have seen demonstrated by Sara and Rebecca live on the telly. They're all super low stitch counts, and for embroidery machines there are some on there with less than 20,000 stitches on. That in the grand scheme of things is like 4 kind of tiny Mickey Mouse logos. So there's some fantastically low stitch counts on there. At the minute, I am trying to get it sorted so you can have PayPal Pay in 3 on there as well, because there are some amazing machines. There's lots of embroidery machines on there, but there is also the VQ4 quilting machine as well. So there's some absolute total and utter bargains on there. Last thing I have to show you is last week we had some technical difficulties. This week, touch wood, a lot smoother than last week. But we didn't get to show you the bits and bobs that we had, so we've left them on for this week as well. So if I show you those there, this week as our special offer from Crafty Self Silly, we have our brilliant kind of badges and keychains. I'm just trying to sneak underneath so I can see what I'm doing. So no, this way, there we go. So we've got the sewing machine one. Oh, there's my disco light off again. Sewing machine one. We've got the colour wheel one as well, which moves. You've got the scissors. No, scissors. No, there we go. Everything is upside down and back to front. You've got the scissors and you've got the 2 keychains there as well. All of the ones on our website are 3 for 2 at the minute, which is brilliant because these make such good. They're all under, I think most of them are under a £5, and they make fantastic little kind of maybe Secret Santa gifts or stocking fillers, those kind of things. So let me grab everybody else in just a second. So that basically all the Crafty Self Silly stuff, and do go and have a look on that Creative Hideaways website. We will be posting. Hang on, I've got an inquiry. Oh, apparently they can hear Hayley West, which I don't know how they can, but it might just be she's on a call and still live. Okay, I shall go and mute you. It's fine. I don't think the Facebook feed can hear them. I think it's maybe just us guys can hear each other, but I have muted everybody. So one last piece of admin. This the Secret Sewing Club only works because you guys support it. We've had fantastic feedback on people kind of messaging in and things like that, which is brilliant. But please just do spread the word. I think we need another 20 subscribers to be able to go live on Facebook, and I think we managed to get the Secret Sewing Club live on YouTube this week. So we need a few more on TikTok as well, so we can pop it out there. So please do support it and support the guys that come on here. It doesn't work the same way as your regular shopping telly. It isn't kind of one point that all the orders go through. You do need to get in touch with the individual guys who are on here. As you can see, there is so there QR code on everybody's stream that should take it directly to their website, which is fantastic. Apart from John's, which I seem to have put the White Gecko one on, but that is fine. We will keep reposting his link for you. So let me go and grab everybody else. There they all are. Let me just unmute you. Bear with, callers. There you go. 1.
Sorry.
It's all right. We'll let you off. 2 and 3.
I muted the mic, but on the wrong camera.
That's all right. That's all right. We don't mind. We have a lovely time all together. So, it is Sarah again.
Oh, okay.
And what have you got for us this time?
I'm going to do the Country Heart cushion. I'm going to show you a little bit of blanket stitching on your machine because people get a little bit worried about doing that.
Lovely.
Stitch count on it.
Okie dokie, take it away.
Cool. Hi. Hello, my lovelies. So I'm going to do, like I was saying, the Country House cushion demo, but you can do this. I'm going to use the flannel charm pack that we've got on offer this week, but you can do this with any charm pack that you've got there. You can use the pattern for anything, or you could even do it with layer cakes and stuff as well, any fabrics you've got hanging around. So that's what we're going to do today. So what I'm going to do is just pop us over to 2 seconds over to here. So in the pattern, you've got a full pattern here, guys. Okay, there lots and lots of pictures and everything you can follow along with, and you also get a little heart template, but you can draw your own. But I've popped one in there for you. So first things first, we're going to cut out that little heart template. You will need some, because this is a plique, you will need some sort of bond web or heating bond. I tend to use bond web, but anything that sticks down basically. So first things I'm going to do is just cut this out first. I probably should have done this beforehand, but you get a little bit of mindful waiting for me to finish cutting this out. There we go. So round we go and cut out your heart. This can also be done with any shape. I've called it a country heart cushion, but you could do this with any shape. It could be a star or whatever. You're going to open up your charm pack. So I get to make a whole one with this charm pack because now I've opened it and I'm going to use it. First thing you want to do is just separate this out, okay? And you want contrasting colours for this to work. So I'm going to go with maybe lights and darks. So I'm going to take one of these light ones, okay? And I'm going to take a darker one. What should we go with? Do I want like a darker? Yeah, let's go with like a darker black colour. There we go, like that. Okay, so this is going to be my heart. So I've got a nice contrast against that dark square. All right, you're going to grab yourself some bond web. Now, oh, sorry, excuse me, I got a frog in my throat. I'm going to do this with bond web, but one of the reasons that I've put the template in is that you could also do this as needle turn as well. So you can use the freezer paper method and do it as needle turn. You could also do a turned applique as well. I'm going to do fused applique today, but however you want to do it is entirely up to you. So I'm going to grab myself a pencil and I'm just going to draw around my template to start with. Now with bond web, as I'm sure you know, you've got, hang on, let me cut a piece of this off. That will make life easier, won't it? Well, I would if I could find any big scissors. There we go. Rather than a whole strip, let's just cut a piece off. Okay, so with bond web, you've got a rough side, which is your glue side, and you've got a shiny smooth side, which is your paper. Okay, so you want to draw on the paper side. Now I've been extremely generous with my cutting out of the piece of bond web. Obviously you can get a lot more if you transfer this off carefully, but just for this one we can do it like this. So all the way around like this. Now again, blanket stitch on the machine is not as difficult as people get worried about. All right, it's very easy to do if you learn your own machine. There we go. So I've cut that, drawn around that now. Hang on, let me just come to the slightly closer one. There we go. So I've just drawn around my heart. You want to cut it out slightly bigger than your pencil line. Okay, so we're going to do that. We're going to cut that out slightly bigger at this point. Okay, all the way around. And you can just quite roughly cut it out. It doesn't have to be precise, just as long as you've got a little bit more of the bond web around your pencil. What I want to do now then is just fuse this to the back of the fabric that I'm going to use as my applique. So I'm going to fuse that on to the back of this charm square. And it's definitely a press and hold with bond web. Okay, you want to just press and hold that and just allow that glue to activate basically with the heat of the iron. Okay, so give it a really good press. Sorry, I've got a real frog today. I've been, like I said, fighting this cold. We're going to cut this out directly now, and the reason we do it this way rather than cutting out directly on the pencil line to start with is that by the pressure of the scissors cutting through this actually pushes the glue into the very edge of the fabric, so you get a much more sort of less fraying happening, and you get a much more accurate, precise line, because cutting through both the bond web and the fabric gives you that fused edge. Okay, it's the pressure of your cutting. You also get a much more accurate line as well. So round we go like that, and you can use this method for any shape at all. But it's called a country heart cushion, so hearts we're doing like that. Okay, now because you've just fused all that lovely edge, you don't want to then disturb that by picking away at the paper. So the best way to do it is, again, just score down the center and then you can pull away that paper really easily without disturbing the edge, which again will cause less fraying. We're then going to fuse this to the front of our charm pack, all right, like this. So if you want to just find the center like that, just give it a little finger press both ways like that. Just finger press that in. And that's just allowing me to, the point of the heart and the point there, where in the valley and on the end there, I can just line that up and get that roughly in the center, like that. Okay. Once you've got it where you want it, then add the iron on. Don't iron this until you've got it where you want it, because the glue is now sort of exposed because you've taken the paper off, and you can then just add that on. Okay, like this. Stick that down, and that's now stuck down lovely. Now you could absolutely then take some embroidery silks or some cotton perle and hand blanket stitch all the way around this. Okay, you can do it in a thread that is the same color as the heart, you know, so it blends in more, or you could pick maybe a darker thread and make a lovely contrast look to it. Oh, I am sorry, my tickle is doing my head in today. But we're going to do this on the machine because it makes it a lot quicker. Okay, so we're going to take this over to the machine. First thing we're going to do is we're actually going to have a little practice. So I've got a little scrap of fabric here. Okay, now hopefully you guys can see it. So I'm going to try and keep my hands out of the way. I've picked a blanket stitch on my machine, and the first thing you'll do is learn the rhythm of your blanket stitch, which is why we're doing it on this little scrap here. Now, some blanket stitches have got like a 3-step, some have got a 7-step, mine has got a 5-step. And what I mean by that, and I'm going to turn my machine right down low so it's really slow so you guys can see it. So it's going to go, so it goes forward, backwards, forward, jumps in, forward, backwards, forwards, jumps in and back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So you want to learn that. So 1, 2, oh, hang on, just because I'm doing it so slowly. Come on, behave. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you want to learn to stop at the end of the stitch, which is number 5 for me. Have a practice on your own machines and work out where it finishes the stitch before it starts a new one. You will get much neater blanket stitch. You'll be able to follow the lines better and it won't go off on an angle. Okay, also make sure that your needle has got, if you've got a needle down function, make sure it's down when you want it to be. Okay, so that when you stop you can then pivot, particularly if you're doing things like hearts that have got curves or any sort of like, you know, points in your shapes, you can then pivot to then come along and do the next bits. All right, so you really want to kind of learn your pattern on your machine. Oopsie, now that was one too many. Back down so it finishes at the end of the stitch before I pivot again. The other thing you can do as well is actually change how far it jumps into the fabric, and you do that with the width of your machine. So you're going to look for the little like zigzaggy line where you change the width, and a smaller width, which means it will jump in just a little bit. A bigger width, it will jump into the fabric a lot more. Okay, now I tend to have mine set at about 3.5 for jumping in. Okay, it tends to work quite well on that way. So that's what we're going to try and do now. Okay, so I'm just going to cut my thread on this machine, on this little scrappy bit, and I'm going to go around this heart. So what you want to do is the flat bit. So if I can show you just here, the flat bit here of the stitching, you want that to run not on the fabric but along the edge of the fabric. Okay, here, so that it jumps in. I don't know if you can see that. Sorry, I'm trying to do it so that you get a pin so my hand's not in the way. So you want the flat bit to run along the edge of the fabric, and then you want it to jump in to the piece that you're appliquing. Okay, so again, we're going to go nice and slow. It doesn't really matter where you start, but I'm just going to, now the needle is going to do what the needle does. Okay, you don't need to concentrate on the needle. What I would suggest you do is concentrate on keeping this little line here in line with where you want to go. You know, it's going to jump in and out, all sorts of ways. Okay. It's, you know, it's going to do the same pattern, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Same pattern. So don't worry about what the needle's doing. Worry about where your fabric is going, where you want it to go. So I'm going to, now I've turned my machine right down really slow. So I'm going to turn it up a little bit now so I can get to this point here and show you how to turn a nice neat point. Okay. Because once you've learnt the rhythm, it's really, really quick to do blanket stitch on your machine. Okay, so I'm coming up towards that point. I can see that I can get one, and I want to stop there. So I've stopped at where the stitch pattern has finished. Okay. Once I've got there, and you can see I'm right on the edge of that point of the heart, I can now pivot. Now, if I hadn't finished the stitch pattern, when I started this new bit, because I've pivoted it, it would have jumped into the background fabric, and you don't want that. Okay, so it's very, very simple to do blanket stitch on your machine, but it really is just all about learning your pattern on your machine, because every machine tends to be different. Every brand of machine. So like a Benina's pattern will be different to a Brother, and a Brother will be different to a Janome. Janome is different to, you know, a Husqvarna. Whichever machine you're using, just get some scrap fabric out and play with it in order to learn that little pattern. Okay, so
Sarah,
now, yeah.
Are you also able to change your stitch length? Because I know some machines you can change the width, and you can change the length. So how much it jumps in?
Yeah, how far apart each little one is. Yeah. So what I'll do is, because that's just finished, if I stop there a minute, let me just grab if I got a little piece of black, there we go, I've got some grey fabric here. You'll be able to see the white stitching better. You just use this little bit of grey, and I can show you guys the difference. So what I'm doing at the moment is I've got it set pretty standard. I'm going to go really fast to start with, just to get a little bit done, and then I'll show you on the overhead. Okay. Now, if I change the width of my foot, so if I take that really big, just to show you the difference, that would show you the width. But I can also change my stitch length as well, so it goes a lot further apart. Okay, and then I can take it down really low and then really small. So if you're appliquing really small things, and let me just do this a little bit here. There we go. Right, let me come back over to the overhead, and I can show you this on a close-up, and you can see the difference that you get in the stitch. Okay. So if I hold that like that, you guys hopefully can see. So this is what I was doing to start with, but then by changing the width of the stitch, it's a much bigger stitch, and then the stitch length then is much further apart, and then I went back down to a teeny tiny little stitch length and stitch width. So also, depending on what size that you're actually, hang on, if I come back over to a second, guys, depending on what size piece you're actually appliquing, you want to adjust your stitch length for that as well. So if you're doing something really tiny, you're appliquing eyes on a snowman or something, you're going to want to do a small stitch length and a small stitch width, because otherwise it could jump right the way across the piece that you're appliquing. If I'm doing the face of the snowman, I don't know why, it's because I've just bought an outdoor snowman, that's what it is. just bought a light. Well, Hayley was demonstrating. I was on buying Christmas decorations. But so you're doing the face of the snowman, you can go for a bigger one. Okay, so think about the size that you're actually appliquing as well. Right, back over to the machine, and now I've got to remember where I was. I think I had it about there. Okay, so I'm going to come back to here, and we're just going to go round that. That's not too bad. I think that was about where I was. Because I'm going to hit a curve now, I'm going to stop with my needle down, which means I can pivot just a little bit. And I'm just concentrating on keeping that straight bit right close to the edge of the heart. Oh, one more. Again, and I'm pivoting just a teeny tiny little bit each time just so I'm getting a really nice neat edge. Hang on, let's finish that stitch. There we go. And around we go again. I'm trying to keep my hands out of the way, which means I've got less control. There we go. Okay. And it is so simple. It's so fast as well. If you want to do blanket stitch, and I don't get me wrong, I still love to blanket stitch by hand. I find it very, very therapeutic. It's quite a nice, it's a bit like EPP. It's that slow stitching, taking your time over something. But sometimes you need to get a present finished. You need to get something done quickly. So that way, I use the machine because it is incredibly quick. It's also very neat. You've got a regulated stitch this way, because it's very difficult when you're hand blanket stitching to get it really, really neat. Right, I'm just coming up to that little point there. Okay. And what I tend to do on a point, like on an internal point, is do one tiny stitch flat across. And that way, when you come round, you're in the right position. And it gives you a really nice, neat finish. You're not going to sort of like catch anything that you shouldn't. Okay. We're going to go around again. All the way around. Sorry, this is very dull for you to watch now because this is a lot of blanket stitch, but we're nearly there. Okay. Has anybody got any questions, Hayley? Any comments or anything? Or are they?
Sorry, I was looking at something else. But I will. Well, apparently my microphone's very, very quiet, so I'm trying to fix that.
Fair enough.
So I've been pressing all kinds of buttons. Because I've got another one. I've got this other one I can use, which will make me louder, but I think it's got a little bit of feedback on, so I've been a bit careful with it.
It's a shame because you're coming across, the same level, like for us, that is the demonstrators, you're the same level as like John and Hayley. So it's strange that, is it just when you're commenting when it's just one of us, or is it? I'm not
entirely sure, but I think it's creating a little bit of feedback, so I'm trying to turn it on and off as I go to try and not annoy everybody basically.
Yeah,
so it says, don't worry, we can turn the sound up. This is again me trying to fix things.
Good.
Loving these demos. Every day is a school day. And Lorraine says, it's great that there's time for the demonstrators to fully explain and demonstrate some of the trucks, maybe tips, make all the difference to the final product too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the things I'm loving about.
Yeah, it'll be tricks, not trucks.
I'm loving is that we can actually demonstrate, guys, and we can show you, and give you all those tips and tricks that we've learned through years of messing up and doing it all ourselves, doing all the mistakes that hopefully you guys don't have to.
I have had some sound feedback as well. Everybody says better.
Fab.
And as long as it's not feeding back, I shall leave it on this one.
Lovely. Cool. So you would do as many hearts as you want. You could absolutely. So the centerpiece of the cushion, and I very stupidly left the cushion over at the shop, but hopefully you can see on this little piece of the pattern here, you would make 9. Okay. So you would applique this onto 9. Okay. And that makes the center of your cushion. You can then add borders on and everything into the pattern if you want to, but you don't have to do that much applique. You could do, I mean, these particular ones, these flannels, are so patterned in themselves. You could actually sort of maybe, do every other. So do 5 hearts. If you were to lie these out, let me just go to the big overhead. If we lie these out, there's no reason why you have to applique each of them. There's so many beautiful patterns in this flannel, and this is the farmhouse flannel, and it feels so good. It's such a lovely one to work with. You could add in all these sorts of different patterns, without the hearts if you wanted to. You could, or maybe just do them in 5 sections. If it's not hearts. You could do all sorts of things in there as well. You could do different shapes and things. You could do numbers and letters. You could write people's names. But the applique itself is relatively easy to do if you use that bonder web or heat and bond, whichever you use, and actually doing the blanket stitch on the machine. I did actually use some of these fabrics. This was one of our little Facebook lives the other day to make this little sort of like Christmas tree. This was a foundation piecing pattern, which it's not in this. It's on our website. It's in the pattern section though, because this is from a couple of weeks ago. But these flannels are just beautiful to work with, and they can absolutely be mixed with non-flannel fabrics as well. So this is flannel, but this isn't. So
I've got a few more questions for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've got a tractor asking, do you have the farmhouse flannel in the 10-inch squares?
We do. I think there's about 3 or 4 left on our website. It'll be on our website in the layer cake section. Right, we should have them there.
I will go and try and find your website in a second. Does the flannel fray? Is another question from Nikki.
A little bit. It will a little bit, but no more than any other cottons. I mean, if once you've blanket stitched, that won't fray. That will stay nice for ages and ages. If you're using it, this flannel stuff is also great if you're doing rag rugs. And it will fray, but you have to like really put a nail brush on it to get that fraying to happen with a rag rug. But no, I've used it I've done several quilts for my kids and stuff in the different flannel ranges, and they're still going strong, and they've been in the washing machine, tumble dryer, and they've stayed lovely. So no more fraying than anything else, any other normal cottons.
And I've got Helen asking, is the flannel from your shop? To which I have replied with a link. Obviously, you can also use the QR code to get you there as well. But I have added her on. We've got Adam Humphreys watching.
Why, hello, Adam.
Well,
how are you?
It says I can bring him onto the video, but I'm scared to push any buttons because today it's working beautifully. Shall I turn this all back together? Let's have a look.
Yeah, I was just going to say this charm pack's normally $14.95, but it's down at $11.16 now, just until midnight. So, and obviously you've got 42 5-inch squares there, and you'll get the free pattern if you buy this one to make the country heart cushion, which uses a charm pack. But you can make it go further if you add in extra fabrics.
Perfect. Thank you very much. There was a whole flurry of questions for you towards the end of your demo there, and lots of people saying it's really nice that we have the time for people to go start to finish on demonstrations. And who was it? There was somebody. Nikki, oh, that's lovely. I'm off to try blanket stitch now. Well, do stay for a little bit because we've got John is next, and he's going to do some more demonstration. Oh, there he is. I've never had one quite so bad for wandering off. We need to put him on a lead or something. Let me see. I've muted you, John. So sorry. There you go, sausage. You're back in.
That'll be it then. I may wander around, but I've never wandered off.
Luckily, I have the buttons to mute you, because otherwise it could be a very different situation.
Exactly. So I'm just conscious of the time, and I just wanted to run through very quickly a couple of bits that I'm...
Honestly, don't worry about the time. I mean, we say 2 till 5, but that's a very loose construct with us. If we're finished early, we're finished early. If we're finished late, we're finished late. Nobody can stop us now, because we're doing it ourselves.
So what I wanted to show everybody was we've all got English paper piecing projects in our minds. This is a sample that my lovely Lady Josephine, who works with me, made many, many, many moons ago before her grandson was born. And this has been used for 4 years, 4 years, every single day. It has been washed over and over and over again. But what I love about it is it's such a simple kit if you want to start doing foundation paper piecing. Now, for me, again, I want projects that are simple, easy, that you've got everything that you need in order to do it. So we've cut out all of your hexagons. We have your hexagons ready to go. These are for sale per the 100 on the website as well. And in the kit, you'll see that they are in there. You've got every single piece that you need for the infill And because I'm a little bit OCD, I wanted to make sure that they were all in separate little bags for you, so they were all ready to go in one perfect little box, ready to go. And you get to pick what background color you like. Jo decided to use white because that was what she wanted to do, but any one of the solid fabrics you have over there or over there, you can pick your background color out of that, and it's included for you, included in the kit price. So that's the first bit there. Now, some people who've made this kit wanted to make it a bit bigger. So what we've also done is we've done a bundle with every single of the colors from the Libs Elliott Greatest Hit Collection. As I recall, it is just over 8.5 inches. There are 18 of these, and these have been discontinued for quite a while, and people have been asking to buy individual pieces, and I'm like, no, it's a bundle. So it's a really lovely way to be able to bulk that quilt out that you want to do. So that is quite fun. Now, we do a class on doing that. All the patterns that I've done, and the next one I'm about to show you, I have done YouTube demonstrations for it already, and it's included in the pattern, so you'll be able to see that as well. With regards to the quilt that was on the frame, we have now finished it. This has got to be the most simple, easy pattern I have ever done. It doesn't really require a pattern, but one will be done. And all you're doing is you're cutting out your squares 6 inches. You get 7 out of a 6-inch strip piece of these. There are 14 different sets. Each one of these 14 are 6 inches, and then you just go and subcut those down into 6-inch squares. Don't need me to show you how to do that. You all know how to cut your squares out of those. And then we have the border, the first border, already cut out for you. So you're just going to piece those together and put that around your border. And at this point, I've gone ahead a step. You're going to get 98 squares out of there, and I've given you 2 extra squares in there. And then you've got your border piece here, and you're going to cut it into 8 equal pieces. Now, I did mine just over 4 inches, so you're welcome to do that. Otherwise, you can cut it down to 2 inches and use the rest for your binding. Whatever works for you, you can cut that out as you like. And that is a full kit in there as well. And again, the video will be on YouTube for a full demo. And the great thing is in the pattern, it's listed as exactly what the demo date and everything is, so you can find it. Now, the next kit that I'm doing now is this, which I'm hoping to do as a demo. And you can see this is the same block 16 times. So the quilt is massive. You don't want massive quilts. You just love the block. So you can make it into a cushion. So you can get the kit. You can get the kit with the pattern, or you can just get the pattern on its own. That is huge. None of us are going to make quilts that big. If you are going to make it, there's 6 3/4 meter pieces. There's a meter piece there for your backing, your border, and they've got your background fabric, and it's a white on white. It may differ ever so slightly, the white on white, because you know all the whites on whites have different patterns. I'm probably going to now throw everything off completely by moving my camera. Can you hear me? Wonderful. So you can see that is the background color on one of them. And then also in the other one, you've got which is a little bit more like that. So they're ever so slightly different for the white on white. You can barely tell the difference on it. That's the great thing about the white on white. So you may end up with a different white of those. If you are particularly keen on a specific white, let me know and we will get that for you. There we go. And the other thing that I have is panels. We all love a good panel, but we never quite know how to use them. So this bundle is my unicorn bundle, and it is such a cute. So with these, you can cut these out and make cushions and pillows. I've made this quilt for that there Hayley, if I'm not mistaken. I might be mistaken. And you can see how you can include the panel all in one go, and then you can create this really sweet little border all the way around.
Which Hayley are you referring to? You've got a couple today.
The West. Yeah,
the West.
No, the Smith. The
Smith.
I think Hayley was demonstrating, or was presenting me when I did it.
Oh, fab. Hang on, I had a question. Bear with, caller. Yeah. Going back to the panel that you had, the unicorn panel.
Yes.
What size is the bit in the middle? Are they kind of
That's great.
5-inch
You can have one in the
squares? So
middle.
you're looking around about, yeah, no, the unicorn panel. That's it. Excellent. So
So
are those
it is,
5-inch squares round the edges?
the middle bit, I've got it as 11.5,
Right.
going from just a little bit of white to a little bit of white. And then this way, I've got 20.5 that way.
Okay, so I mean,
11.5 by 26.5.
in theory, it's a
And
good lap-sized quilt. So hang on, 11.5.
so, and these ones are 6.5-inch squares. Now, the reason I tell you that, has anybody ever used Starville Thick? Again, I've done loads of tutorials on I Quilt with John. You can do them at different sizes. These Starville bundles are amazing to be able to do it. And what I've done with these is I keep all the specific one, I use Quilter's Grid a lot. So what I do is I keep all my packets with all my squares of the different sizes inside my pumpkin pot, including... See, I'm wandering off again.
We need to get you
Am
a
I still
lead
there?
or something.
And now I've pressed my mouse on the table and lost your screen. But the great thing about the Quilter's Grid, you can find hundreds of free patterns online to be able to make things like this. And it doesn't have to be a pumpkin. So those are 2-inch squares. But if you feel like you would like to lose your mind and go a little bit insane, you could do that 240 square block in a 1/2 inch when they're finished. And then you've got the only choice to make is, am I pressing my seams open or am I leaving them closed? Because you can't deny that would make a fabulous pair of earrings. So that is the Quilter's Grid. So these pods, the Quilter's Grid for these panels, really easy to do. So what I'm going to hopefully now do is to be able to show you how to make a
John,
block.
just before you move on to that, I've got Jean on, and she says
Hi, Jean, how
she
you
has
doing?
made a quilt with the unicorn panel. It makes a single-sized quilt when adding on borders.
With the panel, what I was showing you with that is you end up, we've got a fat quarter bundle, and the fat quarter bundle has 5 coordinating fabrics as solid, and then we've got 5 of the plain that go with it, because I think those match really beautifully with the colors there. And then you've obviously got the unicorn panel as well, which is this piece, which is the double-sided, which you could then make as borders or backings or whatever you choose to do on that. So it is a really fun project to just put that panel in the middle and then put borders around it however you want to do. Because you can see by having these coordinating fabrics to go with, they were only just in my hand. Having these coordinating fabrics to go with, you can make a really lovely border with that. Again, the tutorials for all of that are on I Quilt with John, so you'll easily be able to see how to do all of those.
Perfect. Do you want to do your Quilter's Grid demonstration?
So the Quilter's Grid is so simple. I need you all look me in the eye. Okay, one thing I forgot to tell you. Those wonderful people at Blizzalina, they have given me goodie bags. So anybody who spends over £40 today on any order will get a free Blizzalina goodie bag, which includes one of these beautiful iron-on cloths, samples, bits and bobs, and these incredible product line brochures, which they're just invaluable being able to have these. So if you spend over 40 quid, you get a free bag there. But with the Quilter's Grid, like with the Bonder Web, one side is plain and soft, but the other side is bumpy. That is the glue side. When you have glued this down, please, I beg you, leave it alone for at least quarter of an hour, because if you don't, you're going to end up with having distortion in your Quilter's Grid. Now on this side here, you can see you've got some really lovely lines. This is the soft side and the lovely side. You're not going to be putting any glue on there. You're going to just have the glue side over here. And then you're going to get your 1-inch, 2-inch, whatever size square you want to do. And you're going to start laying these out on your Quilter's Grid. And you can see, I'm trying to line those up with my mat. I think it's working there. And you can literally do any design that comes to mind. You can just put them all down, and quite simply, once you've got them all laying down, you're just going to get your iron, and you're going to press on top of the iron, on top of the fabric, to glue everything down. But you're going to leave it for 20 minutes. And the reason I say leave it for 20 minutes is when you don't leave it, you can see over here, I've got some curved bits over here. Hoping you can see that. Maybe it's better on the front. Can you see how that line there is not straight? If you do glue it down and then move it, what will happen is your fabric will distort the stabilizer as you're pulling on it to be able to do. So you can see over here, I haven't quite got so straight lines all the way through it. So making sure that it is completely and utterly cold when you do use it will make your life a lot easier, as well as cutting your seams open. And again, as always, I'm jumping ahead of myself. Lay all your squares out in whatever design you like. Great for scraps, because you don't need to use fabric. You can use any size scrap that you've got available, and literally just lay them all onto the fabric as you want it to go.
What size
I
are the
find it really
squares,
handy
John?
when I'm holding on the phone.
John, what
Sorry,
size are the
Hayley?
squares? Would they work with a jelly roll or maybe cutting up a charm pack?
You can I personally, because I love having a round number on it, you can do it by the 1/2 inch. I personally prefer doing it by whole numbers. So I'm using 2-inch squares now. These ones that I've done before is 1 inch, but I've also done 5-inch squares, any other type of square you want. Any size will work on here. So jelly roll you can absolutely use. My only problem with the jelly roll is that if you do this as a 1/2 inch, so if this one was a 1/2 inch, it wouldn't end on the line, it would just be past the line. So when you're stitching and folding on the line, it becomes a little bit of a problem, because once you've glued that down, you're going to fold on that seam line here and then stitch 1/4 inch along there to sew. And then when you go down this side, 1/4 inch and sew. So you can do it with a 1/2 inch. It just takes a lot more concentration of knowing where you are and how you're doing it to be able to keep on track with that. And ironing it on is so simple. You literally just take your iron, hold it down, 8 seconds, 10 seconds, lift up, down there. So it is pressing, not ironing. And I would show you that, but then people will know that I can use an iron, and my husband will then start insisting that I'm able to iron at home, and we want to refuse such advances.
Oh, have you frozen?
Yep, I think that's me done, actually.
Oh, okay, no problem. Let me just go and grab everybody else, and I'll switch us all back in together. I was just checking for more questions for you there at the same time.
Thank you so much.
Oh, there's no show without punch. Anthea's watching. No show without punch. Anthea's on next week, in fact. Next week, well, I'll tell you now, and I'll tell you again later. Next week we've got Anthea, we've got Sasha, and we've got Nicola from Daisy and Grace next week as well. So, and two of those three are on the Creative Hideaways Secret Sewing Club retreat that is happening as well. So it's Nicola, it's Anthea, and then it's us too. In this kind of row here, this column, this kind of column here. So what? Who's? Let me just quickly check who's next. It's Hayley that's next. But you're busy fiddling. Oh, hang on. I don't think I've unmuted you. Bear with, callers.
She's fiddling with it. I should be going like this.
There you go. The camera fell off the holder.
Oh, do you know what? I had that on Friday. I was doing Facebook Live with the machines, and I had a little kind of tripod with a little bendy legs, and I bent it, and then the whole leg came off. And this was within the first 30 seconds. So then I just had to carry it around with me. It was
the camera that I've got there is on an old dash cam thing. And,
it's nice. It looks jaunty. It looks like how the youths would do it.
To fix it, and I thought no, yeah.
We can give you minutes if you want to fix it. We can just have a little chat.
We can chat amongst ourselves. It's all good.
makes it look fine. It's only that one.
Exotic and interesting. Right, if you're ready, Hayley, I'll switch it over to you.
Yeah, no problem.
Off you go.
That's fine. Yeah. All right then. So yeah, thank you. I've had quite a few people coming through ordering the advent calendar as we've been on today, so also thank you. And I know somebody did ask about it, and yeah, lovely Sarah's popped a link on there as well, so yeah, thank you for that, Sarah. But I thought what I'd kind of do is have a little chat about some of the other things that we've kind of got that are available. Things that I've kind of developed myself, and also things that we've got that are kind of on really good discounted prices at the moment. So we've got some of the Madeira error fill boxes. We've got a few of these left, not a bountiful supply, but these, I think they usually retail at around 20 quid. The ones that we've got, we're just clearing out now, and they're down to £7.99. So while we've got those available, they are there, and again they should be in the sewing the Secret Sewing Club section when you go on via the link. We've also got literally a handful of the neat rolls left, and these are brilliant. Love these. So the neat rolls, they come in a pack of 3, and you've got different sizes on them. You've got a couple that are kind of that length. That one, yeah, I think those two might be the same. You do get another one, and this one is the shorter one, and they come with like a little white clean pen, and the idea being is you use these for anything that you've got on a roll. So it could be a stabilizer or whatever it is that you're wanting to kind of wrap them round, and the idea being they're a bit of a snap band, so you literally just flip them on like so, and that will keep whatever you've got on that roll neat and tidy. And the pen is there so you can kind of, I don't know, put the figure of what's left on the roll or where you bought it from, stuff like that. And they're only now, I think they're £2.99. They were £9.99, but again, just need to make a bit of space. Those have been discounted down as well. So if you're wanting to get hold of those, be quick. We've not got loads of those left. I'm just looking over my shoulder. I think we've got probably about 5 of those left. And with those, I think we've got about 10 at the moment because I found another box. So yeah, those are available should you want them. But I thought I'd talk you around some of the kind of the rulers that I've kind of developed over the years with Handmade by Hayley. So I kind of got them laid out in front of me here, and they come in various formats. So I'm going to move these ones out of the way to start with because these are individuals, but these come together as a set. And these came about a few years ago purely because I find myself getting very, very confused about the markings that were on quilting rulers. So they started off being something to simplify quilting for me, but it turned out that I've got a lot of feedback from people that find themselves getting caught up with things like dyslexia and visual issues and wanting rulers that were kind of stripped back. So that's where this particular one evolved, because basically all you've got on there are your 1/4 inch markings and then your 4 inches. So I did use it earlier on when we were doing the foundation piecing. So there you go. That's literally, I was using it for the 1/4 inch, but these came about just to keep things nice and simple. 45-degree angle there. I continually had problems joining up my making my bias pulp. You know, when you have to do like your 45-degree thing, I always got that wrong. So what I found was easier to actually trim it and then kind of piece it together that way. But you can use it either cutting it or just drawing it and then stitching along that line if you find that easier. So that is part 1 of the trio. Then you have got so using that maybe for trimming down your fabrics. Then you've got your Patchmaker Square. Now, Patchmaker Square, we've actually got this available in the trio. We have got a larger version that's available as well. I'll tell you more about that one in a few moments. And this was, again, I struggled with quilting maths, and it just drove me crazy. I couldn't follow it. I couldn't kind of take the measurements and read them online or read them from a pattern. By the time I'd taken 2 steps over to my cutting mat, I couldn't remember. And then I was struggling with all of the kind of the finer details that were on the ruler, the 18th and 16ths and 8ths of inches and things like that. So these came about purely to make it easier for me to actually cut my fabrics. So the idea was initially larger pieces of fabric. I would use them to trim them to make my patches for my quilts. So you've got different markings on there. Let me put it back on the white paper because it's easier to see. Let's get a little bit closer. So what you've got are different lines on here. So I'll actually draw on this just to kind of mimic what you would do with your fabric. So you've got your different lines. So this particular one, you can do 2 inches, 3 inches and 4-inch patches. The larger one that's available on its own, you can go up to your 6-inch patches. So again, 2 right the way through to 6. Both work exactly the same. And the idea being that when you've got your fabric, you would have your fabric, say this is a nice neat edge of your fabric that you've got, you would literally choose what it is that you're wanting to make. So say if you want to do, I don't know, a 3-inch half square triangle, you would take that middle blue line, and where the arrow is, you would literally line that arrow and that line up with the bottom of your fabric, like so. And then the one on the left, you would line that up as well. So imagine this is your rotary cutter. You would just then simply cut up that side, cut across that side, and then that square that you have cut is the right size to make a finished 3-inch half square triangle set. So your set of 2. The actual measurements for your seam allowance, 1/4 inch seam allowance, are all included within this. So literally that is your cut line, and then you would go off and you would do whatever technique you use for kind of creating your half square triangles. That's your line with your stitch line going down either side. So that's basically how that would work. But as time has gone on, they've kind of evolved into tools that can help with all sorts of different bits and pieces. So things like this, you might have a scrappy bit of fabric. Now I would look at that and I wouldn't have a clue whether I could utilize that in a quilt for a half square triangle or a 1/4 square triangle or a full square, knowing the actual size. But what I could actually do with this is I could look at this and think, right, hang on, which is the biggest piece that I can make? So might struggle at your 1/4 square for your 3-inch square. Certainly could do the 2 inches, but I could do the 3-inch half square triangle again. So what I would do then is I'd place it on my rotating mat. Let's put it in the middle because I'm going to rotate it in a second. I'd place that down. I'll take my rotary cutter and I'm looking at the half square triangle. So all I'm going to do first of all is go up the one side. So take that out. Oh, need a new blade. There you go. I'd rotate it and then do my other cut to get my nice neat right angle. And then what I would do is I would take the rule and then I would turn it around this side and think, right, okay, now I can get, oh, I could potentially get that 1/4 square. Oh, shall I risk it? Shall I risk it? Oh no, I can see it's just not quite there. So I'm going to bring it down to my 3-inch half square triangle, and then I know that I can go off and put this, if I wanted to, into my kind of scrap bucket for all my pieces that I've cut for 3-inch half square triangles. And at a later stage I could put them together and make a scrappy quilt utilizing those. So that was another use. And again, anything that you've got that is misshaped, again, I do it on the back because it's a little bit lighter. You can just literally figure out, without needing to know the proper maths, whether you can make, so there I can look at that and think, right, okay, that's a 3-inch square. So I can just literally just cut up there, cut across there. It's not technically a 3-inch square because it's got the seam allowance in there, but what I know is that if I went off and I got my half square triangles and I was making up my patches, they would line up perfectly with my 3 inches. So it turns your scraps into usable pieces that you can actually then use and create things with. So that was why the patchmaker square kind of evolved. And as I say, if you go for the trio, you will have that, you will have that, and you will have that, and then $19.99 for all 3 together if you're wanting to go for those. Now, the last one that we've got within the trio is the binding square, and this evolved because binding is the last stage really of many of our quilts, isn't it? So the idea being that you will use this to stop scalding your fingers when you're making your binding. And again, I'll bring in the white piece of paper because it's a little bit clearer.
Hayley, I've just got a message in from Liz. She says she's got the XL patchmaker and it has saved her sanity.
Oh, I say. Oh,
big
like
claims,
that.
Isn't it? Big claims. And Helen says, is the neat roll, would that be all right to use on faux leather?
Yes, yeah, it doesn't grip too hard, so it's not going to kind of cause any issue crumpling anything. It kind of just grips to as much as it needs to grip. And yeah, I've not actually used it on faux leather, but I don't think it would cause much of an issue because, I mean, you can see it doesn't really grip at all. It doesn't cause any pressure marks on there. So, yeah, I don't think you'd have an issue. I did have some faux leather around earlier on. I don't know what I've done with it, but yeah, if it's on a roll, then yeah, I don't think you'd have an issue.
Perfect.
You might need to make sure that it's on a roll so as it doesn't crush. But I mean, they do go, even without a roll, they do go quite small. So yeah.
Perfect.
And anything that I've got that I'm a bit concerned about, so if there's anything that's kind of a plush, maybe like a velvet or something, then what you can actually do is wrap a piece of paper around and then use that just so as it stops bruising your fabric and stuff like that. So there you go. But yeah, thank you for that. A sanity saver. Faux leather, there you go. Good questions. So the binding square. So the binding square is going to help you make your binding in at least four different sizes. You can kind of use it for in between bits as well. So you've got 1 inches, you've got 2 inches, 1 3/4 and 2 inches, and those are your finished width sizes. So what you need to do is literally follow the instructions that it's got on there. Cut your fabric strips to double the finished width. So I've got a little bit of fabric here that's actually, well, looks like it's narrow at one end than the other, but don't judge me on that. But we'll go with this one because I know this end is 2 inches. So I'm going to make some 1 inch tape with this. Now you can use it when you're cutting your strips on the bias if you're wanting to. Depends on what you're making. Sometimes you don't need bias tape. Sometimes you just need a folded tape. So it's horses for courses, whatever the project is. Top tip from me, fork pins. Now I don't actually stock these, but I'm sure Sarah and John probably will. And these are going to help your fabric to not move really. You can use your straight pins if you're wanting to, but having those kind of double fork in there does make it much easier for you to kind of keep your fabric in one place. And then all you're going to do is take your fabric, bring the raw edges together like so, and just give it a little bit of a press just to get it started. Okay, and then you feed it through your binding square. Now it's up to you. You can either do it face down or face up. I tend to do wrong side facing up because I tend to put my finger inside it as it feeds through. It goes up through the square, sorry, the slot that's closest to the middle of the square, and then down, almost like a buckle kind of idea. Feed it through like so. Oops. There you go. And then that's where the fork pins are useful, because what they'll actually do is you've got 2 prongs on one side, 2 prongs on the other, and it just makes sure that it's nice and secure as you're actually pressing it. Then the idea being is you will come in with your iron, and the iron can actually touch the acrylic. There's not a problem with that at all. And then you're just basically going to move that along. Now you've got a little kind of horizontal line which you can use just to eyeball that you're kind of keeping everything central as you go. And then as you push it along, you will see that your tape evolves after it's been down past the iron, but your fingers are nowhere near that iron at all. Now, when you get to the end of your pressing mat, all you need to do, take those pins out, move it along. Quite a small piece that I've got here. Put them back in place. You can kind of get it started just by a bit of a friction when you're moving it, but then you can just move it along again until you've finished your tape. There you go. And you've got your neatly folded in edges. That obviously then if you can use for your seam, your stitching if you're wanting to, then you can wrap it around, do your hand casting, and getting that all done if you wanted to as well. So there you go. Oh, I've just had a funny thing pop up watching on Facebook, and it's like a sped up Sarah. So I'm not quite sure what's happening there. Oh, it looks like we've got a fast forward through the, I don't know what's happened. It's gone a bit bonkers. I'm not sure. Are we still live? I'm not sure.
Yes, no, we're still live. I'm double checking. Yeah, you're still on. You're still on all of the channels. I'm checking them both now for you. Have you got any more to do in this section, Hayley, or do you want me to grab everybody in?
It was only very, very quickly just to mention the other rules that we've got.
You do that.
Because these are new ones. No problem. this is going to be the last little section, so it's just a few moments. So the next one that we've kind of got here, this one is, well, it's called the Precise Precision Square, and the idea being it's a 6-inch square, so I wanted it to be a manageable size to take to classes and workshops, and it's basically for anything where you're needing to actually place markings, because usually you kind of have to put 2 markings. So say if you needed to come in so many inches from the edge, so many inches down, you kind of put in markings and getting in the ballpark, and sometimes it's a little bit tricky. With this, say you needed to come in from the corner and you needed to come in by 4 inches and down by 3, then you can very quickly and easily just put a little mark there like so. Then if you wanted to do a mark further across from that, obviously if the rules, it's over here that you need the marking, then you can just literally mark that up, keep the straight edge, and again you could go from that point and you might need, I don't know, 4.5 inches for the next marking, and you would be able to put that there, and then you've got that there ready for you. Say if you were doing something like an envelope zip or something like that, you've got the perfect place for that to go. You can use it in loads of ways. If you're wanting to do pin tucks, then you could use it maybe if you need them to be 1 inch apart. If you need them to be 1/2 inch apart, again, you can put those markings in there. There could be markings for gems that you put in. There can be markings for whatever you need it to be. If you just wanted to find the center point of something, then you could obviously find the center point. And also very, very useful for when you're doing things like your bag corners, because you can use it as a cutting tool as well. So if you needed to come in, I don't know, say 2 inches and up 3 inches, you've got the numbers in different kind of organized, kind of whether it's left or right or upside or, and whatever, and you can just basically mark out whatever it is or cut out whatever it is that you need to do. So that was just another little useful one. The last one that we've got,
just
this one came about,
that last one, Hayley, can you let people know where they can buy the 3 rulers? Because I've got Claire asking.
Oh, okay. They should be.
Oh, I think Sara may have messaged her the link.
Yeah, they should be. Yeah, they should be on the Secret Sewing Club section of our website with the QR code. They should already be on there. I'm sure I'll put them on the list of products.
I'm sure they are. Yeah. I'm just getting you to reiterate for anybody else who was watching and hasn't messaged to ask where they are. And also I've got Sharon who says those tools sound amazing and so easy to use.
They are, and what I found was that they kind of came about for me as a novice quilter, but what I've kind of did, I tried them with different people who are completely new, people who are seasoned sewers, shall we say, people who run classes, workshops and retreats, and asked them for their opinion, and they always get the rules before they actually go to market. So yeah, they've liked those ones a lot. Last one that we've got is your seam guide one. Now this one is a useful one. Sometimes machines don't always have the markings on the stitch plate for imperial as well as metric, depends on how old your machine is. And sometimes you actually want to go a little bit further than the actual stitch markings that you've got on there. So this was developed to allow you to take your needle. So imagine that's in your sewing machine. You'd raise your needle up and you would place it, say if you wanted to, I don't know, a 3.5 inch seam, maybe you're turning up some curtains or something like that. So you'd pop your needle in like so. Let's get in a little bit closer. Oh, we are close. That's as close as we can get. No, it's not. I thought we could. So you'd drop your needle down like so, and then the distance between where your needle is and that little edge there is then 3.5 inches. Now, obviously, if you've got the capability of using a magnet on your machine at that point, then you can use that. If not, you could just put a little bit of washi tape or something like that and use that as your guide. But you've got metric and imperial on here, so you've got your regulars, your 3/8 of an inch, your 1/2 inch. You've also got your 1/4 inch, so that gap, whoops, from there to there is your 1/4 inch. So if you did need a 1/4 inch marking and you haven't got one, or you haven't got a 1/4 inch foot, then you could do that, and it's kind of indicated there. Flip it around on the other side and you've got a 1/2 centimetre again. So if you need a 1/2 centimetre kind of seam allowance, you've got that there. And again, if you're wanting to do something along the centimeters, you've got 10 centimeters going right the way along. You literally just drop your needle in again and put your magnetic guide or your piece of tape there. Obviously, you don't sew with this in place. You'd raise the needle up. That would stay in place, and then you are ready to sew, and you've got that there. And I just wanted it to be a neat little tool that could fit in your accessory box. And again, that is on the website, available by itself. or you can go for it with the magnet as well if you do need a magnet. And again, they are on the website. So there you go. So a little little speedy tour around what I've got on my website.
Splendid. I shall. My text message worked. John had wandered off, and I was like, "Come back." Hang on,
to
John.
dinner time now.
I haven't unmuted you yet. Hang on. Okay, now you're unmuted, John, and you can explain where you have been.
What I was going to do is, because I'm standing and I'm so sore from the week that I had, I'm sitting on a chair just there, literally there, sitting there.
So I'm just like, come back. It works a treat, though. I mean,
my phone is muted. My phone is muted, so I didn't even hear you texted me, so apologies.
It's a new way of working, but it's quite nice. It's a lot more relaxed than the telly, and, we can all rock up.
Can I just answer a question?
Yes, of course
from
you can.
Helen as well, because obviously when we're talking about magnets and sewing machines, there's a lot of people get, oh gosh, you can't put those anywhere near. These are sewing designed to work with sewing machines, and you're okay to use them on a digital or electronic any machine that has got a motherboard attached to it.
Yeah,
but you're not going to put this on the motherboard.
Yeah,
this is nowhere near the motherboard.
The magnets that are kind of sewing magnets are nowhere near strong enough to cause any issues.
Tiny.
I mean, I would say don't go and grab yourself some super strong neodymium ones. Then you might be in bother. But yeah,
somebody when I asked the question years ago, somebody said, "Well, do you remember in the Roadrunner cartoons, and they used to have that magnet that used to pick up parts?" If it was that kind of size, then you need to worry.
Don't put that one on your sewing machine, but all the rest should be fine. Yeah, I mean the digital and the kind of computerized ones, there should never be an issue, especially if it's a sewing magnet from designed for a sewing machine. You should never have an issue with that. But
quite often brands will bring out magnetic hoops nowadays as well, so you're not actually hooping up your fabric in the traditional way. So and those magnets are very, very much stronger than those ones.
Yes, absolutely. You've got your little drink now, Sarah, to kill the cough.
It is only water, it's not gin.
Sarah, I tell people it's just water as well.
We all know it's never water with you, John.
Never.
We've all been out with you. We know it's never water.
It is nearly gin o'clock, mind.
Yes, it is. It is. That's fine, because again, we do say kind of 2 till 5. If we overrun a little bit, it doesn't matter. If we're short a little bit, it doesn't matter, because we're not kind of tied to that TV time scale now. So it's John, did you find your marshmallows? Jacqueline wants to know.
I bought more marshmallows.
What? I'm entirely sure there's a whole story there. Have we got time?
I did an air frying trick of putting marshmallows in the air fryer, and literally you put giant marshmallows in for 5 minutes at 200. Then you put 3 to 5, depending how strong your marshmallow is. Then you take big chunks of chocolate, put them on top of your marshmallows, put them back in the air fryer for 2 to 3 minutes, and it goes beautifully crispy at the top. The marshmallow melts, and then you take oat crackers like that.
Okay.
And you literally just take it and you scoop it out. It's terrible. It's dreadful. So I had
this is a whole revelation.
Hayley Smith's face was like,
well, I've only cooked savoury things in my air fryer, and I mean, an air fryer is the best thing in the world. I got one.
You've got to have it in a tray, in one of those paper tray things that you can buy. Put them in that. Oh, divine! And then you pick
so there's
the tray
no
up
cleaning afterwards as well.
Exactly.
It's like s'mores, but without having to have a bonfire.
Exactly. But it still gets burnt and crispy on the top. It's delicious. And if you really love your burnt and crispy, do what I do, and you have 2 big scoops of the front, then you put it back in the air fryer, 2 scoops, and you put it back in the air fryer. Oh, and then when you get to the bottom bit, this is why I'm never going to be a skinny bitch.
I'm off to Tesco, sorry.
It'll be closed now. It's a Sunday. It'll be closed. It's a Sunday. No, I've when did I get it?
Completely made you lose your train of thought. Sorry.
It wasn't this Christmas. It was last Christmas I got it. And I think the actual oven has only been turned on probably less than a dozen times. since I got the air fryer because it's so much quicker.
They're really good.
Absolutely,
They're really good.
yeah.
Oh, can't beat an air fryer.
We
Right.
put feta cheese in. So if you get like the big field mushrooms and then put feta cheese on them and put those in the air fryer, that souffles up. It like expands. It goes like cheese souffle. It's incredible.
I just
There's a whole new section.
Go and get mushrooms, feta, and marshmallows now.
We need a secret air fryer club now. Has anybody got any more demos that they want to squeeze in? Because, I mean, yes, we've got another 20 minutes, but if anybody's got any more stuff they want to squeeze in, I'm happy to go for it.
I've got
Can
a
I just say something
really
very
quick one on
quickly?
the panel. Oh, sorry.
Okay, well, we'll just
wanna say something
we'll
very
go back
quickly.
around again if everybody's
If
got
I'm
another
allowed
one.
back, my demos will be a lot better. You girls are incredible. Watching you, you're amazing. My demos were diabolical by comparison, so it was lovely to watch you all. And knowing you all, it's just such a pleasure to see your work, and you're so inspiring, and it's wonderful. And I promise to do better next time if I can.
Oh, shut up, John. You're just fine. Oh,
You girls are amazing. Cop it all.
Liz says she needs an air fryer now.
Absolutely, yeah.
No,
They're
you
amazing.
are
Do
doing
it.
the air
You'll
fryer.
never
I went,
regret it.
sorry. I
Right,
did all the
Sarah.
research on the air fryer. You need the 2 drawers.
Yes,
Because if you're going to
that's
do
what
the
I've
field
got.
mushrooms in one, you can't put the marshmallows. You got to put the marshmallows in the other.
Yeah. I'll tell you what's
They
very
do
good
now
as
with a
well.
wider drawer as well. See,
I don't
had
like
the
the
thought,
wider drawer.
Well,
I
somebody
didn't
needs
like the wider drawer. I thought it was too much.
to invent
well,
a
what I wanted
pizza-sized
was
one.
two drawers, and then you could buy an accessory of a larger drawer, so you had options, because you should always have options.
Absolutely.
But I'll tell you what
Then
you
you
should
could do your
do.
chicken in there as well.
I've done a chicken in an air fryer. It's brilliant, and I've got 2
It's a
drawers.
diddly little chicken.
Well, yeah, it's not a massive chicken. You have to kind of squish it down a bit, but it's fine. It does a really good roast chicken. Right, hang on a second. Right, so I've got a couple more questions. Let me have a look. Right, apparently we've still got a sound problem because when Sarah comes on, you deafen people. I shall sort that. That's fine.
Sorry.
But I shall go and switch to you now, Sarah. You can do your last demo. We'll whip round everybody one more time, and then we'll all head off to get some marshmallows. You ready?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's go. Right, you're in. I'm going to turn you down just a touch.
Okay, don't lovely.
So you
Yeah,
don't
I could
deafen
probably
anybody.
do my side as well, but
I've got it. I've got you. Don't worry.
You go for it. You go for it. I thought I'd just show you something really, really quick, something you can do with one of the panels that we've got on offer, which if I just pop over here a second. So we've got these in black and cream. The cream one was actually behind me. This is the Woodland Winter panel. And people buy panels and they go, oh, I'm not sure what to do with it. You could absolutely just use this in a quilt, in the center of a quilt. But because you've got these really cute little squares on the end, I thought I'd show you how to do some really quick Christmas placemats. You've got 6, so you could easily make a set of 6, like I was saying earlier, and then still have the center panel for a quilt or a table center or anything. So I've cut out one of them, which is, they're 6.5 inches. So I've cut it out 7 inches, just to give myself a seam allowance. And I'm using the fat quarter bundle, which is the coordinates for this, the Woodland Winter one. And I've cut myself out just some 1.5 inch strips. So you'd easily get all 6 out of this, no problem. I'm going to start by just backing. I've cut a little bit of scrap wadding. This could be Frankenstein. You know, if you've got lots of scraps of wadding, Frankenstein the wadding, you know, just zigzag it all together because it's just placemats. It's not gonna hurt if it's scraps of wadding. We're going to very quickly spray baste. And I've cut this out of one of the fat quarters as well, so that my placemats will be reversible. Okay, so that on the back. And we're just going to do a little bit of quilter to go really, really quickly. Now, I'm going to offset this one. I'm going to sit him down in the bottom corner. You could absolutely do him centrally if you want, but I quite like the fact that he's offset slightly. So I'm going to sit him down in this corner. And then, like I said, I've cut some 1.5 inch strips. And we're going to do this, and we're going to do like a cheats log cabin version on here. So I'm going to put this right sides together, and you're going to cut it as you go as well. You don't need to measure anything with this. So I'm going to cut that off just there, pin this together, and then we're going to stitch down with 1/4 inch seam allowance along there. Okay, so over we go. Nice thing about this is you don't have to do lots of measuring. So if you don't, hang on. Oh, it's just the machine's telling me I've switched feet again. Hang on, sorry, my darlings. I've just got to put the right foot on. My machine is too clever for its own good.
That's all right. While you're doing that, I have some air fryer updates.
Oh, excellent.
So Sarah says, where's the air fryer QR code? Well, we don't have one of them, but we'll work on it for you. And Heather said her oven's died and she's now replaced it with an air fryer oven.
Oh.
No drawers, just shelves. It's amazing. And Jacqueline apologises for starting the air fryer chaos and says we are a brilliant mix of talent in more than just textiles.
Amazing. I mean, I love our air fryer, but the fact you can get an air fryer oven, amazing.
I know.
I'm one of those.
totally going on Google after this.
Yeah, there we go. So I've just stitched that one down 1/4 inch, and we're just going to press that out. Okay, like that, and just finger press it for now, and pop a pin in. And I'm going to do top and bottom in one colour, and then right and bottom in one colour, and then top and left on the other one. Okay, so this one now is going to go on like this. So we're going to add that on, and then I want it just to overlap there. So chop that off a weeny bit bigger, like that. Couple of pins again. And obviously I'm doing my quilting at the same time as my piecing, which is the joy of like Quilt Studio methods. We're going to stitch across here. I'm going to really quickly, I mean, genuinely, I think you can do a placemat in about 15 minutes doing it this method. And these, would make it a stunning Christmas present. The fat quarter bundle and a panel, you've got time to make a really beautiful handmade present for somebody. Here we go, back over here, like that. And we're just going to finger press that one out, like that. And you can see on the back is actually doing my quilting at the same time. And then I'm going to change to a different colour. So I'm going to go with the green now. And I'm going to work my way around. So I'm going to do one colour this way. And that's obviously the edge of the placemat. And then I'm going to add this one on. And then just work my way out that way. So I'm going to add the green on there. I mean, I don't even think it would take 10 minutes to make one of these. I'm going to take this piece with me so I don't have to keep coming back. And I'm going to stitch that one on there. Okay, so take that with me. And now I've got those first couple in. I'm not even going to bother to pin, to be honest. It can be that quick. Here we go, down this way. There we go. Like that. And, if it's slightly longer than the piece before, it really doesn't matter. So we can finger press that one out. And then I'm going to add my next one on along here, just making sure I overlap that.
Sarah, I've got a question asking what batting or wadding are you using?
So I'm actually using the Eco batting, which is a 70-30, and it's 70% recycled cotton, 30% polyester, which is nice and stable, and it's helps the environment as well because it's all recycled cotton, and it is on a website. However, you could do this with like an Install Bright, the heat resistant wadding. That would work really well if you want your placemats to actually be heat resistant to get this resistant against your table. But to be honest, with placemats, that's enough thickness that it's going to protect your table. I've just touched the iron, that hurt. But yeah, I'm any wadding, an 80-30, 80-20. Like I said, I'm
110% wadding. I love it.
Whatever you like.
I have another question. I've got Moira asking, do you post to France? I will ask this to everybody because she has asked, do you all post to France?
We can do, lovely, but after the 13th of December, with these new rules that are coming in, we won't be able to post it anywhere in the EU.
Okay.
So we can do, it's not on our website, but if you contact us, we can do an order, you can pay by PayPal, and we can work out the postage for you. But you can't do that directly through our website at the moment. It would have to be,
okay, so you need to just email you directly for international postage. Okie dokie, no problem. And somebody else has updated. I have the oven. It's brilliant. I don't use my big oven anymore as it died.
Yeah.
See, air fryers can take up the world, man.
We got one just to try the air fryer. Just thought, oh well, everyone's talking about it now. We use it all the time. There's so much stuff you can do with it. It's brilliant.
I can cook a full roast dinner in that thing.
Yeah,
I swear.
Yeah. And like a chicken breast, if you want a really quick dinner, a chicken breast takes like 9 minutes in the air fryer. It's amazing. There we go. So I'm going to add that one on like that. And can you see there's a little bit here, but it doesn't matter. Just leave that in there. I'm just lining out with the edge of the previous one. I mean, you can trim it down if you want to be really super, clean, but it won't matter. It will all be tucked underneath. There we go. Like that. And if I bring this back over, I can just show you because there we go there. Okay, and then I would just keep adding my strips on. So I would cut maybe I might add like the cream or something in now, or that, maybe a little bit more of the, actually that red, I've not used that red yet. I would then just add a couple of extra ones down here, and you've got that lovely sort of log cabiny effect. But I quite like the fact that he's, offset. Give it an iron once you've got a big enough space to iron safely without touching the wadding, because you shouldn't really put the heat directly on the wadding because it can stretch it out, which is never fun. Okay, so, but obviously we want to let the other guys have a go, so I won't carry on cutting. But another 2 strips and that little placemat, which is 10 inches by 12 inches, just needs binding. I'd put another strip maybe of the red in there, and then maybe one of that green afterwards, just to finish that off. And you've got all the different animals on the panel, so you could easily make a little set of 6 placemats, make them bigger, customize it if you want to. But you've got the little raccoon, you've got the bunny, what have you got at the top here? You've got the owl, the little cardinal, and then those little chaffinches. Does anybody know their birds? What do we reckon those are? Like little chaffinchy things. Whatever the bird is. If you know what the bird is, let me know. I'm going to say like a chaffinchy type thing. But, we've got these in the black. And then if you just look over my shoulder over there, we've got it in the cream as well. And they're on at £8 at the moment. So bargain up until midnight. Okay. There we go. Hang on, I've got one here somewhere, but I hung one up. But yeah, I don't know if you guys can see it. It's exactly the same basically as the black one, as this one, but you've got a really beautiful cream background on it, with all those beautiful little animals and stuff. So just a really quick idea of how to use a panel, because it is, yeah, absolutely. It's just wintry. It's not like, Father Christmas snowmen type thing. It's just a nice sort of autumnal winter ones. Cool.
I have no comment. All I was going to say was, Sarah, who is the designer on that?
It
was it
I think
McCower?
it's Deb Strain.
Deb Strain, okay. I think
I've cut off the edge. I can't remember. It's a Moda panel. Hang on. Let me have a look. Yes, it is. Yeah, Woodland Winter. It's Deb Strain is the designer. But beautiful animals on it. Really,
beautiful.
It is lovely. Yeah. So the fox square I just cut out of the edge of the panel there. Okay. So you've got all the different animals on there. The little fox is part of the panel, but you get all the others on there too.
But you can't buy just the fox. You'll be separating the whole family. You've got to have it all.
The bunny would miss him.
Oh, so cute. Can we all just do a big wave to the wonderful Anne Davies, one of my most favourite human beings alive? I love Anne Davies. No. So Anne, she makes samples for me. and make samples for me. And she's
I've
already made
muted myself. So many buttons. Honestly, I think if I had
brilliantly.
If I had another couple of laptops here, as I said to Sarah before, I'd be launching rockets, mate. Yeah, I'm kind of director and producer and tech ops. like 4 people in one.
You need the theme tune next, Hayley.
Well, we'll get there in the end. We'll get there in the end. Well, I'm waiting because I think we're getting a bigger, faster computer, so we can do this more often. Then I can put my box in, which will make life a lot easier because I don't have to go flipping about on there. I can just press my buttons. Yeah. Oh yes, there's a couple of laptops on the go. There's phones, there's iPads. It's all of it. All of it. Right, John.
Yes.
It's down to you, mate. Off you go.
What?
I thought you had another demo, my lovely.
No.
Oh, okay. We'll just chat
I've
then.
done some diabology on the last two. I'm going to leave it at that.
Oh no, we'll just chat then. That's fine. We'll just. Oh,
Your
you've got
viewers
one.
would far
Okay.
rather watch
Well,
another one.
I shall switch to you then. There you go. It's all yours.
Literally, I've just cobbled this together while Sarah was doing that with the little foxy panel. So yeah, very quick and easy, but it's something this time of year when we're all decorating our homes or whatever season, Halloween, autumn, spring, Easter. It's one of my favourite ways of making bunting, and I don't go back to my old way now that this one came about. And it's kind of it popped into my head, and I know it has been done before, but when it popped into my head, I was thinking about origami folds and using origami with fabric, and that's kind of how it came to be, because there's a fold in origami that's called the kite fold, and that is literally, if I swap over and show you what I've got in front of me. So I've got this is, I don't know how big this one is. Is it a layer cake? Not sure. It is, where am I? An 8-inch square, well, 7.5 inches there or thereabouts. Doesn't really matter the size. Works well with charms, works well with if you've got the 10-inch squares, whatever size square you've got. And to be honest, they don't all have to be the same size square because it makes it quite quirky. But each piece of fabric does need to be a square. And then what you'll do is you'll literally fold it on the diagonal. So you take your bottom left corner up to the top right. You can give it a little bit of a finger press if you want to. I tend to have a batch of these that I will fold, and then I'll chain piece them through my sewing machine. And then what you're doing when you're chain piecing them is you're literally stitching probably about a centimetre, half an inch, whatever kind of increment you want to do really, down the side there, but just keep it consistent so as they're all the same. And you're literally just chain piecing one after another to make a huge long row of these. I've actually cut these to separate them, but you'll end up with a whole row of these with all the stitching down there. All you need to do is come in with a pair of scissors and just take off that kind of tip. Don't cut into your seam, obviously. And then what I tend to do, this is one of the other reasons that I use the diagonal that we've got on this. So you're going to turn your flags, your bunting flags, as they are now because we've sewn them, and turn them inside out. And then what you can do is use the mitre edge that you've got, your 45 degree, to actually poke through. And then what you can actually do is actually swizzle the fabric round as well. So you're going to get that seam running down the center like so. And then all I would usually do is you usually have a pressing mat to hand as well, so twizzle it round. You can press it with the rule in place if you're wanting to, but I tend to just use it just to twizzle it round and then just kind of press and move it out the way, and then press like so. So that's one little flag that we've created, so pop that to one side. Then I come in with the other one and again pop my mitered edge in and just twizzle it round like so. Get a nice crisp point on there. Make sure that seam again is sitting halfway down, and then give it a little press. And then you could cut these triangles off if you want. I am a lazy crafter, so I don't bother. I will literally just fold those over and give them a bit of a press. and then like so with this one. And what some people have done in the past is popped something in there to act as a weight. So as when your bunting is outside, sometimes it can flip and go over the tape, can't it? So that will weight your flags, which you can do that. Then all I do is I pop that inside like so. Again, gives it a little bit of stability, but if you wanted to trim it off, you could do. And then I'll just come in with some tape, which potentially have made using the binding square. And then all I would do is pop these in the center like so. Quilt clips, you've got quilt clips, then just position them along like so. Put whatever size gap in there as you so choose. Sometimes I'll just use something like that and they just think, oh, that's a big enough gauge, and move them along. So don't be too particular about the actual spacing. And then once you've got as many flags as you need, just run a top stitch along, and there you go, quick and easy bunting flags.
That was the quickest bunting in the world. John, come back.
That's why I don't do the other way now.
There he is.
That's why I don't do the other.
He's back in the room. He's still having a little sit down.
I tried to, but she was so quick with her demo, there was no time.
Wasn't that super duper quick?
Nothing to be sorry about. It was fun.
I love it.
It's a nice way of making bunting. I love it.
So I have a couple more messages. This is Claire. She's managed to order your rulers. Oh, Sarah's finished hers as well. Look at this.
Finished it while we were there.
So Sarah says she's ordered her rulers. Not Sarah. Claire says she's ordered her rulers. Thanks, Sarah, for putting up the links. And another enjoyable afternoon watching avidly. So I've just got the admin now. So thank you to all of you guys for coming in and joining in.
Amazing.
And next week it's Daisy and Grace, it's Quilting Antics, and it's Sasha Sews. So I'm sure we'll have more fantastic. And we're finished just like 1 minute over time. So, I mean, mic drop. I think that we smashed it today.
Are we going to be able to get you marshmallows? That's the only thing I care about right now.
I mean, it's. I think before next week we'll have to try and get marshmallows and try it.
I've got a Tesco's Express literally just around the corner. I can see it from my front door. So I'm off over there for that and a Bar Galaxy. I'm going to do it.
Excellent.
That's terrible. Hayley, I'll pop a care package in the post for you. Don't worry.
Thank you very much.
Send me your address.
All right, guys. Well, we'll say goodbye, and we'll hopefully see you guys next week. Bye.
For one last time, I'm going to pull Hayley down.